To be connected to your meeting.
You'll now be connected to the webinar.
Your audio has been muted. Press *6 to unmute your audio.
What the hell?
You're unmuted.
Check one. What's up? Oh, they took it away.
Test.
Testing. Check. Testing.
Test.
That's not me doing that. That's them. Hey, Photon, they took the meeting down, but now it's back up. I canceled, but then I just went live. They're doing some testing. I'll take myself off the screen, but you can still hear me. I will talk. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'll have to text Ted back to say I went live again, because just 2 minutes ago it was not on the screen. They took it down.
You're muted.
I'm not muted. You're muted. That's them. They're doing some adjustments now. Don't ignore everything you hear. I'm just playing them. You guys can hear it, right? Sorry, guys. We're just gonna watch and Sheriff. So years of service. Nothing. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'll explain to you. I was going to cancel. I had it up, and then I canceled because I looked on their site. It was gone. They took it down, and now they've got it back up. So it's back on. I'm live. LOL. I just told text. It's back on. I'm live. Does Ted want me to stream it to his channel? Oh my God. I have to log out of this and log in as him. Oh my God. That's probably a bad idea. This title, I just threw this together super fast. I should fix this title, right? I'll change it to what they call it. Pima County. Yeah, I'll just freaking copy and paste their title. Watch. Oh my goodness. Actually, no, I won't. I want all caps. So screw it. I'm just going to change it. So it's the Pima County Board of Supervisors meeting. Pima County. Nanos. Pima County Board of Supervisors meeting. It is May. Oh, it started. Sorry. Wow. They're muted. Sorry, guys. They're not. Let's double check. Yeah, they have it muted. It's not me. Okay. I just changed the title. I'm going full screen. They're muted. It's not me. Sorry, guys. I'll stop talking when they unmute. I'm positive they have it muted. Usually takes a second or two. You'll hear it kick in the audio. Sorry, guys. It is full screen now. Thank you. Thank you. Right? Because I was changing the title, so I had a whole pop-up thing going on. I was changing the title here. They are muted. I'm positive. Let me just double check on my phone. Positive. I don't hear anything. Do you guys? I'm not muted here. The sound is up. So I'll mute my microphone when I hear them. Let me see. I think I'm double checking on my iPhone right now. Live. 884 people watching. Yeah, there's no sound on my iPhone either. So it's them. They have it muted until they start. So just so you know. Yeah, my iPhone's cranked. I don't hear nothing there. So it's not my computer. Cool. So the reason I canceled it a bit, sorry guys, I had it up and then I was watching their website, their YouTube channel, and it disappeared. The live, they took it down. So I put mine private and I changed it to like 11:55 p.m. And then, like 5 minutes ago, that's Sue Ellen? No way. And then like 5-10 minutes ago, it just popped up again. So I don't know if they had technical difficulties and had to delete and make a fresh one. So what's up, guys? They're muted. It's not me, okay? When they start, I'll mute my mic. I've verified on my phone. I got to change my banner just to know I'm saying hi to everyone. I think I made a new banner, actually. Which one was it? Pima County. Yeah, it was this one. So, oh wait, I got to take it off so I can edit it. I like them up top. Pima County. So Pima County Board meeting. Just copy and paste this. Copy. Paste. Boom. Pima County Board meeting. Live. Live. And just know they are muted. Nancy Guthrie missing. Still. So it's May the 12th. Yep. Nanos. Nanos' Pima County Board meeting. Good enough. Nobody even reads that banner anyways, right? Right. So select all. Oh, Ted has entered the studio. Oh my gosh, Ted is here. Oh, Ted, one second. Pop yourself up if you want. Hey, what's up? They're muted, so you can talk. Oh. Or is it me? Ted, I don't hear you. Is it me?
You can now unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Unmute. Me or them?
You're unmuted.
Them. Ted, put yourself up. I don't hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, give me a second. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. Maybe it's me. I'll stop talking.
Oh,
Yep, can you hear me?
I hear them.
we are going to begin. I will pass it to our clerk for roll call.
Supervisor Kano,
Present.
Supervisor Christie,
Here.
Supervisor Hines, Supervisor Scott,
Here.
Chair Allen.
Here.
Let the record show Supervisor Hines is not present. All other board members are present.
We will start out with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to invite Ale Reese from Grants Management and Innovation, Grants Coordinator, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello.
Anything happening over at Grants Management and Innovation you'd like to?
Quite
Share?
a bit, yes. So we just reviewed some of our grants and contracts that have been processed. We are at 295 grants since July 1st of last year. So we're really excited to see the momentum there. We also had a team go to the National Grants Management Association conference in Washington, D.C. And a number of us are looking at getting our Certified Grants Manager Specialist certifications as well later this year. So lots of momentum in terms of growing and learning, and then also making sure too that we're doing the best to review these agreements in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I should also just acknowledge, like, welcome to our first ever 5 p.m. Board of Supervisors meeting. We also had our first ever study session this morning. I'm still getting acclimated to this new table. And then everybody at the podium there feels very far away. So lots of adjustments. So bear with us as we navigate this. I don't know, the sun is lower, but it feels very different, more than just the sun being lower. So moving on, our Next item is our land acknowledgement statement, which will be offered today by Bonnie Schock, Executive Director of the Fox Tucson Theater.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Pima County residents, we honor the tribal nations who have served as caretakers of this land from time immemorial and respectfully acknowledge the ancestral homelands of the Tohono O'odham Nation and the multi-millennial presence of the Pasquayaqui tribe within Pima County. Consistent with Pima County's commitment to diversity and inclusion, we strive toward building equal partner relationships with Arizona's tribal nations.
Thank you. Anything you want to share about the happenings at Fox Theater?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Bonnie. I'm the executive director of the Fox Tucson Theater. We are just up the street. Our mission is to enliven Tucson, fostering community growth and connections by shaping exceptional live arts experiences in a celebrated setting. We've been doing that for almost 100 years, currently serving about 100,000 people annually, including nearly 15,000 K through 12 students each year, and over 1.4 million since the venue reopened after full renovation in 2006. And we've got big plans for the future, including a major expansion project just around the corner that's going to allow us to do that work even better and even deeper. So thanks to everyone in the community for support and showing up and participating in live experiences, which are so important for all of us to do. So, thanks.
Next on the agenda is Pause for Pause.
Good evening, everyone. This sleepy boy is very sleepy. He has already taken 2 naps, so he is not sure about the nighttime, but he's happy to be here. He is one of about 500 dogs we have at PAC right now. And the reason I brought him is because he just got to the shelter, and he's one of many. We have so many dogs that clearly have owners. This guy has not let me walk him. He wants to be held the whole time. So we know he clearly has an owner, so we're hoping maybe they're watching and they can come pick him up when they're watching it. And we want to remind other people that this is the start of PAC's busiest season. Actually, Memorial Day weekend starts off our highest intake season, and it doesn't really slow down till about November. And that's because people are out, they're on vacations, they have different people watching their dogs, parties, things like that for the holidays, the different holidays. Now is the time we encourage people to come to PAC, whether you have a PAC dog or not, get a free tag, put your name and a phone number where someone can reach you. And that's free. All you got to do is get there. And I want to mention that we are moving east side. We don't have a confirmed date yet, but it is in the works. So we are excited to be on that side of town. And it will be an adoptions only center. So if you need outreach services or other things, you can still come to the main location on Silver Bell. And this weekend, we have a free medical care clinic. It is going to be, I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the location, but it's on our Facebook page, and it is free to show up, and you can get all the vaccines and some free medical care. And we also have a program that we just started for $35 spay neuters for owned pets in Pima County. And that's with participating vets. And we know that there is a big need for that. We've seen that at our outreach events. So we really want folks to, adopt another dog and maybe get your other one spayed or neutered. So thank you so much. And please come get a tag. It's free. Say bye.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Kano.
I did hear our new deputy county administrator say, new job, new dog. So perhaps, he might.
Thank you. Next is current events and public acknowledgements. Actually, Supervisor Christie, I know you had requested a moment of personal privilege. This seems like a good time for it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to pay tribute to a community leader that we lost recently, Fred Boyce. And I'll just give a brief bio of him. He was a real pillar in this community, a community leader, and another community leader that will greatly be missed. He was a longtime Tucson civic leader, rancher, and champion of higher education. And he died Tuesday, May 5th, and he was 96. Fred Boyce was an influential community leader, having served on the Arizona Board of Regents, Tucson Airport Authority, Tucson Medical Center's Board of Trustees, and numerous nonprofit and civic boards. He also served as president of the University of Arizona Foundation and was a founding member of the Tucson Conquistadors, the civic group that helped establish the Tucson Open Golf Tournament. He was born in Pasadena, California in 1930 and raised in Tucson after his family moved here in 1937. He attended Sam Hughes Elementary, Mansfield Junior High, and Tucson Senior High School. Ranching became central to his life at an early age, and at age 11, Fred began spending his summers working on an Arivaca cattle ranch south of Tucson, experiences that launched a lifelong career in the cattle industry. Fred moved to LA to attend Occidental College, where he earned a bachelor's degree in economics before moving back to Southern Arizona to take up cattle ranching full-time. He started his own firm, the American Cattle Company, and he later served as president of the Arizona Cattle Growers Association and on the executive committee of the National Cattlemen's Association as well. But it was his civic involvement that made Fred Boyce one of Tucson's most respected behind-the-scenes leaders. In 2002, then Governor Jane Hull appointed Fred Boyce to the Arizona Board of Regents. During his tenure, he advocated for expanding access to affordable higher education and became the first regent to serve 2 consecutive terms as board president. He also served on boards and committees, including Arizona State Parks, Junior Achievement of Tucson, and the Tucson Metro Chamber. In 2017, the Greater Tucson leadership honored him with its Founders Award for his civic contributions. He's survived by his wife of 73 years, Anne. He's requested no memorial service, and contributions in his memory can be made to the University of Arizona Foundation. Madam Chair, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence in the memory of Fred Boyce. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Supervisor Cano?
Thank you, Chair Ellen. Welcome to your Board of Supervisors hearing room. I wanted to take a moment of personal privilege to welcome to our Board of Supervisors chambers a council member who I have the deep honor of knowing and whose leadership I'm most proud of on the Pascua Yaqui tribe, and that's Council Member Herminia Frias. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors hearing room, and thank you for your years of service to the people of Pascua Yaqui and to Pima County. Welcome.
I have a couple of events, announcements. The National Letter Carriers Annual Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive happened this past Saturday on May 9th. It started in 1993, grown into the nation's largest one-day food drive, helping to fill the shelves of food banks in cities and towns throughout the United States. Also coming up is the 32nd commemoration of the 1984 genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda. There is an event taking place at Grace to the Nations on May 17th to honor the memory of over 1 million lives lost and to renew our collective commitment to peace, unity, and justice. And then a quick reminder that the District 3 office has our Pitcher Rocks office hours on May 20th from 4:30 to 7:30 at the community center. I will actually be out of town, so my staff member, Bonnie Bazada, will be there along with Tom Drazgowski, Deputy Director from Pima County's Development Services, to answer any questions around zoning or other issues in the Pitcher Rocks area. So we will move on now to item number 6, which is agenda adjustments. The clerk.
On the regular agenda, page 5, item 19, under Board of Supervisors, 2026 Regional Transportation Authority Special Election. This item will be heard at a time certain of 6:45. On page 7, item 31, under Finance and Risk Management, this is the fiscal year 2024-25 audit results. This item requires approval prior to consideration of agenda item number 32 and will be heard at a time certain of 6 p.m. And on page 7, item 32, under Human Resources, this is the certification of compliance with Arizona revised statutes. This item is contingent upon approval of agenda item number 31. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of proclamations. So item number 7 is a presentation of a proclamation to Melanie Bustamante, a Praxia Kids volunteer, proclaiming the day of Thursday, May 14th, the Praxia Awareness Day. I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Supervisor Scott, would you like to present?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will note for the record that we are joined by Supervisor Hines.
Before I read the proclamation for Apraxia Awareness Week, I want to point out that Melanie Bustamante, who is here to accept the proclamation, also supervises the Board of Supervisors outside agencies process. And we have asked an awful lot of your office recently with some emergency grants to help our community deal with federal cuts. And we're just very grateful to you. So I would just ask that everybody recognize Ms. Bustamante for the outstanding work that she does. And who'd you bring with you? Hi, John. How are you? Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah. Hi.
Perfect. All right. Whereas childhood apraxia of speech is a speech disorder that affects 1 in 1,000 children, with 1/3 having a genetic causal basis. And whereas childhood apraxia of speech causes children to have significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe childhood speech defects. And whereas children with apraxia require early, appropriate, and intensive speech therapy, often for many years, to learn to speak. And whereas without appropriate speech therapy intervention, children with apraxia will have diminished communication skills and high risk for secondary impacts in reading, writing, spelling, and other skills. And whereas these impacts diminish future independence and employment opportunities and challenge the ability to become productive, contributing citizens if not resolved or improved. And whereas Apraxia Kids is the leading nonprofit that strengthens the support systems in the lives of children with apraxia of speech. And whereas May is recognized as National Speech, Language, Hearing Month to raise awareness about communication disorders and promote early intervention and support for speech, language, and hearing health. And whereas public awareness about childhood apraxia of speech is essential for families of children with this neurological disorder and the professionals who support them to achieve the needed services for those learning to use their own voice. And whereas our highest respect goes to these children and their families for their effort, determination, and resilience. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims Thursday, May 14, 2026, to be Apraxia Awareness Day, and encourages individuals and families to work within their communities to increase awareness and understanding of childhood apraxia of speech and to support environments where all children can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Board of Supervisors and everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Melanie Bustamante. I am here today as a volunteer for Apraxia Kids, a mother of a child with childhood apraxia of speech, and an advocate for all children working to find their voice. Today, we recognize the strength of children with childhood apraxia of speech and the dedication of families, therapists, and advocates who support them. May 14th marks Apraxia Awareness Day, a time to bridge the gap between not knowing and understanding this often misunderstood neurological motor speech disorder. So imagine knowing exactly what you want to say, but your brain struggles to send the correct signals to your lips, your jaw, and your tongue to produce those words. This is the daily experience for children with apraxia. It isn't just being a late talker. It's a motor planning difficulty that requires specialized intensive speech therapy. The theme of this day is every child deserves a voice. For many children, their voice includes sounds, spoken words, signs, gestures, and augmentative and alternative communication devices, all tools that allow them to express themselves fully and confidently. Awareness is essential. I'm shaking. It leads, it leads to early identification, appropriate intervention, and access to evidence-based treatment. With support, children with apraxia can overcome significant challenges, reduce frustration, and make their voices heard in meaningful ways. To the parents, speech-language pathologists, and community advocates, your commitment is creating brighter futures. As we recognize May as National Speech-Language Hearing Month, we celebrate the professionals who dedicate their lives to helping individuals communicate, connect, and thrive. Thank you so much for honoring this important work and continuing to uplift the voices of those who cannot yet speak for themselves. Thank you.
Our next item is a presentation of a proclamation to Annette Leva, Tribal Administrator, Pascua Yaqui Tribe, Ms. Leila Gokobachi, Miss Native American University of Arizona, Catherine Demotica, Program and Volunteer Manager of Arizona Diaper Bank, Felicia Leon, Tucson Unified School District, Native American Services, Magdalena Verdugo, CEO, Victor Boleg, Program Manager, and Lindsay Terry, all of the YWCA, proclaiming the week of May 12th through May 18th to be Period Poverty Awareness Week. I move the item. Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. I would like to invite all of the folks who are here to please come on up to the front up there. And I also really want to acknowledge the leadership on this of the District 5 team and Supervisor Cano, who've been really driving forward the collection. Thank you. Would you like to join? Sure. I got one. So we're like awkward, sorry. So you all come around here. And then would somebody be willing to hold the proclamation? Thank you. I will read the proclamation. Whereas access to menstrual products is a basic health necessity for people who menstruate and is essential to dignity and well-being. And whereas Pima County, through resolution number 2020-92, has committed to advancing equity by addressing disparities relating to race, ethnicity, and socioeconomics, while centering community voices and improving outcomes for populations that have been historically underserved. And whereas menstrual equity ensures that all people, regardless of income, housing status, or background, can access products, facilities, and information needed to manage their menstrual health safely and with dignity. And whereas the impacts of these barriers are not experienced equally, with period poverty disproportionately affecting low-income individuals, youth, Black, Indigenous, and Latina communities. And whereas ensuring access to menstrual products is a matter of public health, education, workforce participation, and economic stability. And whereas reducing stigma and increasing access to menstrual products strengthens the health and resilience of our entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the week of May 12th through May 18th, 2026 to be Period Poverty Awareness Week, and encourages residents, organizations, and institutions to support efforts that expand access to menstrual products, reduce stigma, and advance health equity across Pima County. Be it further resolved that the board directs the county administrator to facilitate the voluntary contribution of menstrual products through dissemination of information to county employees and the placement of receptacles for contributions. Passed and adopted this 12th day of May, 2026. Thank you. And I think we brought a donation, perhaps the first for receptacles, soon to be. Like to say a few words.
Yo soy Chenabo Herminia Frias. I'm one of the tribal council members for Pascuayaki tribe. And I really want to thank you for this proclamation. It really is important for women to have access to feminine products. You know, I'm just going to tell you something quick. I was just at NIH last month and they had exactly this. And I've gone to, you know, these hotels that give you this for free, and it makes no sense. It's like we should be doing something. So I really do appreciate that you're doing this because this is something that women need. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Catherine Demotica, and I am with the Arizona Diaper Bank. Thank you so much for this proclamation. As the Diaper Bank, we do mostly do children's supplies. However, we started supplying period products in 2018. We found that families who need diapers also need other hygiene products, including period products. Something that I'd also like to note is that the Diaper Bank is a member of the Alliance for Period Supplies Network. And they found that in the southwestern region, Arizona and Utah are the only states to still have sales tax on period products. So I'm hoping that this is a further conversation that we can have and hopefully one day join the rest of the states in our region to get rid of the sales tax. So thank you so much.
I don't want to say much, but thank you, Andres, for bringing this collaboration together of the different Pima County partners to be able to have one voice and share together the needs and celebrate these wins. So thank you for that.
I just want to thank all of the community partners for coming to your Board of Supervisors hearing room and ensuring that we continue to send a message that Pima County stands with all women in our community. And I agree with everything that's been said, especially the fact that this has long been a District 5 issue from the time of Supervisor Elias organizing to collect some of these critical hygiene items, but most importantly, they're about our wellness and their essential care. So thank you, Chair Allen, for continuing that tradition. I know that all of the folks in District 5 will continue to be mindful of the need for us to put this at the top of our priority list. So thank you.
On to item number 9, which is a presentation of a proclamation to Anna Harper, CEO of Emerge, Dr. Felina Cordova, Assistant Professor, Health Promotion Sciences, University of Arizona, Veronica Boone, Wellness Director, Tucson Indian Center, Marcelino Flores, Tribal Liaison, Pima County Health Department, and Rosa Alvarez, Council Member and Secretary, Pascua Yaqui Tribal Council, proclaiming the month of May 2026 to be Hope, Healing, and Solutions Month for Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. I move the item. Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. And all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. And I invite everyone to please come up to the front to receive the proclamation. I will read the proclamation. So, whereas homicide is the third leading cause of death for Indigenous women between the ages of 10 and 24, and the fifth leading cause of death for Indigenous women ages 25 to 34. And whereas in 2017, the Urban Indian Health Institute and Tribal Epidemiology Center began assessing the number and dynamics of cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, identifying the Southern Arizona region as having the third highest rates of missing and murdered Indigenous peoples cases nationally. And whereas the Pima County Health Department maintains a clearinghouse of information, frameworks, and collaborative models regarding missing and murdered Indigenous people to support finding and address root causes while centering Indigenous voices. And whereas healing initiatives are designed to address the deep-rooted trauma and systemic violence faced by Indigenous communities and to heal survivors, strengthen communities, and improve responses to missing and murdered Indigenous people's cases. And whereas throughout the month of May, local tribal nations, community partners, and advocacy organizations led numerous activities focused on healing, awareness, prevention, and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the month of May 2026 to be Hope, Healing, and Solutions Month for missing and murdered Indigenous people, to honor the lives of missing and murdered Indigenous people and reinforce the urgent need for prevention, justice, culturally grounded healing, and systemic change. Pima County, in collaboration with tribal nations, community partners, and local organizations, reaffirms its commitment to advancing healing, strengthening coordinated response, and supporting initiatives that center Indigenous leadership, and will continue to work towards safety, healing, and justice for all Indigenous people. Passed and adopted this 12th day of May, 2026.
Well, thank you, Chair Allen, esteemed supervisors, and county residents. I'm very honored to be a part of this. I'm a member of Pascua Yaqui Tribe, and this issue has been one of my highest priorities since I first started under Dr. Cullen about 3 years ago. And so I'm really proud to say that this resolution came forward with the help of Dr. Cullen, her policy advisors, the Office of Policy Resilience and Engagement, so Office Celia, and the folks here. So, MMIP is a complicated issue. And one of the things that I understood from the warriors of old is that they would have a black mark across their face. And this meant that there would be no more words. There would be only actions. So that would be their intentions going into battle. Today's warriors, we are fighting for systemic multi-sector change that starts with prevention. We're fighting for economic justice and to always center Indigenous voices when possible. So really pleased to be a part of this. And I thank here the folks that are with me that I'll let them share some comments. So.
Good evening again. Herminia Frias, Pasco Yaqui Tribal Council. I want to thank you, Honorable Board of Supervisors, for this acknowledgement. It really does mean a lot, not only for Pasco Yaqui Tribe, but all of our tribal nations in Arizona and throughout the country. You know, shining light on this epidemic is very important. That for many, many years, we weren't even counted. People were just dismissing the fact that our women, men, and children were going missing. And so having you acknowledge this is important because this really needs the attention from the entire community. And I appreciate the work, collaborations that we do with the Sheriff's Office, with Pima County Health Department. Just on Saturday, we had a run walk, and I really did appreciate seeing Dr. Cullen there from Pima County Health Department. And also, of course, seeing our tribal liaison here, Mr. Marcelino Flores, and just the representation that is there to shine light. So with all of my, from deep in my heart, Yosem Chocotesia. Thank you.
Yosin Chimanyabo Getche Malaya. Hello, and may Creator go with you all. My name is Layla Lanai Gokabachi. I am the 2026 to 2027 Miss Native American University of Arizona. And this is a continuous issue that has impacted our communities across the nation. Almost every Indigenous person has a relative, woman, two-spirit, any Indigenous relative that has been impacted by this. So I am here to help with bringing awareness to MMIP and to acknowledge what has been going on in our communities, but not only to highlight how it has negatively impacted us, but how we as a community come together for healing and for that hope for justice for our relatives. So this is not only just a small thing, this is going to be a continuous effort that we all make together as a community. So thank you for allowing us to take this first step, and I hope that there's many more.
Good evening. My name's Veronica Boone. I'm the Wellness Director for the Tucson Indian Center. Thank you for having us and for joining forces with other partners across Tucson and with the two local tribal nations. So I think that's really good because we're planting some good seeds here. And in case you didn't know, Tucson is, I think, number 4 in the number of missing and murdered, Indigenous people across the nation, which is startling, but not surprising. We're very close to the border. We're within city limits with the Santa Fe District, the Pasco Yaqui Tribe. So if you're talking about jurisdiction, that just adds so much complication to what, if we're missing, who do we call? What do we do? What advice do we get? What level do we take it up to? So again, with these partners, I think this is promising. And I just want to say thank you for having us. And TAC is just around the corner. So we definitely offer services, which Tanya will talk about a little bit.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm honored. My name is Tanya Rios. I am an enrolled member at the Thanaotum Nation. I am the Domestic Violence Prevention Specialist with the Tucson Indian Center. So when I took on that position and that role a year ago, I wasn't expecting to be much more than just the Domestic Violence Prevention Specialist at the Indian Center. I've become much more than that. I'm involved with the Southern Arizona MMIP Task Force, a bunch of coalitions and partnerships to help with this crisis that our people face. I also am a survivor. My cousin was murdered in South Tucson, still unsolved, over 10 years ago. So I am a big believer that you end up where you're meant to be. And I think that this is where I am meant to be a voice for our people. Thank you.
We have one final proclamation. This is addendum item number 1. This is a presentation to Courtney Sloniker, Director of Red Cross, Fatima Luna, Chief Resiliency Officer, Karina Martinez Molina, Community Relations Coordinator, City of Tucson, Nate Young and Betsy Camara, Program Managers, and Harrison Brown, University of Arizona Brace Intern, Pima County Health Department, proclaiming the week of May 11th through May 15th to be Heat Awareness Week. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. And Supervisor Connell is ready to present.
All righty. Can I leave my cheat sheet over there? Thank you kindly. Can you tell the setup is throwing everybody off? Hour number 1. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Triple digit temperatures are here. We felt them this weekend. I spent a little bit in the pool and thank goodness I had that. Whereas the second week of May has been designated as Heat Awareness Week to raise awareness of the risk of extreme heat and to provide information about preparedness actions to prevent heat-related illness and death. And whereas extreme heat waves during the summer pose one of the biggest weather-related threats to life in Arizona and are the leading weather-related killer nationally. And whereas there were 117 heat-related deaths in Pima County in 2025, and Pima County experienced a heat-related death for the first time ever in the month of March 2026. And whereas in 2026, the earliest 100-degree day on record occurred on March 19th, surpassing the prior record set on April 11, 2025. And whereas heat-related deaths and illnesses are preventable through awareness, preparedness, community resilience, and effective intervention strategies, and whereas extreme heat disproportionately affects our most vulnerable populations, including older adults, children, people of color, individuals experiencing homelessness, low-income individuals, and those with heart disease, diabetes, respiratory illness, and other health conditions which are particularly susceptible to heat. And whereas Pima County is committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of its workforce through policies, resources, and protective measures aimed at mitigating heat-related risks. And whereas the Pima County Health Department, in collaboration with local partners and stakeholders, continues to strengthen efforts to protect residents from the dangers of extreme heat, now therefore be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the week of May 11th through May 15th, 2026 to be Heat Awareness Week to raise awareness about the dangers of extreme heat, promote preventative measures, and encourage community-wide efforts to protect the health and safety of all residents, passed and adopted this 12th day of May 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I also just want to recognize Stephen Pelaez for the Primavera Foundation. He is a program officer, and we weren't able to get him on the agenda today. And I want to recognize the other members of the Pima County Heat Relief Network. We have dozens of other partner agencies who are working tirelessly every day to help us keep our community safe. This is a kind of work that you can't do by yourself. It really does take their continued support, involvement, and collaboration. So thank you to everyone who is standing with us here today. Thank you to the other members who are not present, but are very much present in the Pima County Heat Relief Network. And make sure you're checking on your neighbors and your loved ones and helping each other stay safe this summer.
Thank you. Miss Luna, do you want to say anything?
Well, that was unexpected. I just want to reiterate that message of the importance of collaborating. Thank you so much, Chair and Board, for recognizing extreme heat, the number one weather-related cause of death in the U.S. And it's not as flashy. It actually kills more people than tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods combined, but it's not as visual and flashy as those other climate disasters. So the fact that this is being recognized today and hopefully throughout the year with preparedness, ongoing preparedness and relief, it's very important in our community. And partnerships are critical to be on the ground year round with preparedness, planning, and heat relief. So I just want to thank everybody here and the partners who are not here for doing this work. Thank you.
So we are going to move on now to call to the public. I will flag that we have a time certain item at 6 o'clock, presentation from the State Auditor General. So we will be pausing call to the public for that 6 o'clock time certain, and then resuming call to the public until we get through it. We have 10 speakers. I am going to first read the rules, the guidelines for call to the public, and then I will we'll start out actually then with telephonic speaker. So guidelines. Citizens attending the meeting shall observe rules of propriety, decorum, and good conduct. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who becomes boisterous while addressing the board, may be removed by the sergeant at arms if directed by the chair. Such person may be barred from further audience before the board. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistling, yells, and similar demonstrations shall not be permitted by the chair, who may direct offenders from the hearing room. We have first 3 speakers, and I'll ask if you are speaker 2 and 3 to please come up to the front. The row is reserved for a seat reserved. Please come up front so we can move through quickly. Because we have less than 20 speakers signed up, each speaker gets 3 minutes. So our first speaker will be Trista Di Genova, who is on the phone, and then our second speaker is Patricia, starts with a B and maybe an A, and I apologize, I can't read the last name, maybe. Thank you, perfectly said. Then our third speaker will be Corey Stevens. So is Trista on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue. And you have 3 minutes.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Hi, board. My name is Trista Di Genova, and I grew up here in Tucson, and I spent a lot of years abroad. I studied at Oxford University and Taipei Medical University and UC Berkeley, public health researcher. And I came back to America when my mother died in 2014 as a result of what should have been a routine welfare check. But the Pima County Sheriff's Department did it in the middle of the night, and it literally scared my mother to death. That was in 2014, and that's why I had to come back to the United States. I was working in media and as an educator, university instructor in Taiwan for many years. And then I have had several encounters with horror stories, basically, with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And in 2023, they carried out an highly illegal home invasion with upwards of 60 officers on my private residence here in the county. and they falsely arrested me. The detective in the case obtained a warrant without probable cause. By the way, I'm fellow Pima voters. I'm running for. I'm a declared Pima County Sheriff candidate for 2028 if we have elections. So feel free to sign my nominating petition. And also, I'm running as a write-in independent candidate for District 5 Pima County Board of Supervisors because I have requested 8 times now from my Pima County supervisor some assistance in getting back my service dog, which was a violation of ARS 132910, interference with a service animal, and also cruelty to him and intentional emotional distress. And at the time, I was a candidate for sheriff as well. So I'm wondering if this was something personal, and I wanted to call on the board to please look at many other very valid reasons that you should have already removed Sheriff Nanos from his position, not let alone the fact that he resides over probably the worst jail in the country with 4 times more jail deaths at Pima County Jail than Rikers Island. So, in my own personal case, he authorized this home invasion again when I was a sheriff's candidate. This was 2023, August 30, and the PAC and the upwards of 60 officers on my property fabricated evidence, and they lied to the media about the condition of my animals, and they did not carry out body camera footage. They turned it off.
That is
on,
time. Also, I will note people are always welcome and invited, encouraged to submit written comments as well if they don't fit within 3 minutes. Our next speaker is Patricia Bowerly.
First, a huge thank you to Tucson City Council and Pima County Board of Supervisors for banning immigration and customs enforcement, referred to as ICE, activities on any and every piece of Tucson and or Pima County property. More similar courageous action is desperately needed. Please non-violently ban concentration camps from your jurisdiction and any area intersecting with your jurisdiction. Please non-violently ban concentration camps, whether referred to as detention centers or by any other name. On or about February 15th, 2026, the online news publication entitled Common Dreams published at least 2 different articles documenting that the federal Trump administration has been building out mass detention centers, which are actually concentration camps, and documented why and how the detention centers are actually indeed concentration camps. After immigrants have been imprisoned in those detention centers, they rarely come out. One article entitled Trump's concentration camp build out includes nearly $40 billion for warehouse conversions, authored by Julia Conley, cites the following quote: Germany's concentration camps didn't start as instruments of mass murder, and neither have ours, wrote talk show host Tom Harmon recently. History isn't whispering, it's warning, it's shouting. Another article entitled The Trump Min is Building a Mass Detention System, What Will You Do About It?, authored by John Marks, includes the following statement: what they have not told you is that the immigration detention system is not processing people, it is accumulating them. The math shows how fast. The history shows what comes next. In addition, might the government choose to use any data centers that seem to fail as additional concentration camps? Moreover, the United States government's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, referred to as ICE, has been routinely violating people's constitutional rights, as documented in part by someone in front of Tucson City Council on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, during the call to the audience. Our federal government has also been majorly violating the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution's right to substantive and procedural due process and equal protection under the laws. Please refer to my letters dated March 22nd, 2026, in an individual envelope addressed to each Pima County Board of Supervisor, hand-delivered to the Pima County Board of Supervisors office on or about the morning of Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Corey Stevens.
I'm speaking today about hypocrisy. I hope today brings some resolution in the Sheriff Nanos investigation, or what you will be doing in regards to this horrific investigation we have going on with him. As a constituent and citizen of this county, I have spoken on this issue numerous times over the last 4 years, as have many citizens. I would ask you, how many IA investigations, disciplinary hearings did he sit in on and make decisions that affected deputy and CEOs' careers that have led to either termination, demotion, or them being unhireable with other agencies? Let me ask you a question, Matt. Had you lied when you became a physician, would you be subsequent to having your medical license revoked? Let me ask you, Rex Scott, when you were in charge of teachers, had they lied on their application, would they be hireable in a school district? Let me ask Sam Brown, if an attorney were to lie under oath or not act in a fiduciary way when representing a client, would he have his state bar revoked? Probably so. Jan, when you're in the financial industry and you do not act with fiduciary responsibility, are you subsequent to punitive or other actions? I would say so. Let me ask you this, Jen Allen. Do you think Mr. Urias had any social justice when he was beaten by Chris Nanos and subsequently put in a coma? I think not. You guys have a duty, not an obligation, a duty to the citizens of Pima County to make this right. You need to ask yourselves, how many people have been affected by this man? On December 11, 2025, Nanos answered no when he was asked under oath if he had ever been suspended as a law enforcement officer. There were no mincing of words. That was a clear-cut question. Clear-cut question. Do the right thing and remove him from office.
We are now going to have to, because it's 6 o'clock, we've got to put a pause on call to the public, switch over to our time certain of presentation by the Auditor General, and then we will be resuming call to the audience thereafter. I will flag that we have another time certain at 6:45. So moving on to item number 31 on the agenda. This is the fiscal year 24-25 audit results. We will first hear the presentation and then the board will consider the item.
Madam Chair, members, Administrator Lesher, good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Lindsay Perry, the Auditor General for the state. Joining me today is also Catherine Edwards-Decker. She's my Financial Audit Director, and Vicki Fisher. She oversaw the county's audits. She's a manager in my Financial Audit Division. So again, thank you for inviting us to attend your regular board meeting to present the audit results and findings for Pima County. Today, Catherine's going to cover some of the financial highlights from the county briefly. I know you received all of this from us several months ago. And then Vicki will discuss our audit results. But before we get to that, if we could go to the next slide, please. One more. Okay, I know many of you are aware of my office, but I wanted to refresh your memory. My office is a legislative agency made up of nonpartisan staff We provide impartial information and specific recommendations to improve the operations and programs of state and local entities, including the county. We are well versed in and follow several standards, including governmental auditing standards. Next slide, please. Similar to our previous presentations in front of the board, we are here today in accordance with state law, which directs the County Board of Supervisors to require its auditors, my office, to present audit results and findings to the board in a regular meeting without the use of a consent agenda and within 90 days of the report's completion. This is a great opportunity for us to be in front of you, to answer your questions, to help you understand what we're finding and what strides the county is making from the prior fiscal year. So we are here to answer questions as well as provide information. Next slide, please. Each year, the county signs what we call engagement terms and conditions, and this document outlines our responsibilities as well as your responsibilities regarding the financial statement and single audit reports. Highlighted for you on this slide are some of our key responsibilities, including conducting your audits in accordance with various auditing standards and federal requirements. We obtain reasonable assurance about whether the county's financial statements are free from material misstatement. While reasonable assurance is high, it is not absolute. It's not an absolute level of assurance. With that being said, the risk of not identifying material misstatements and non-compliance is higher due to fraud than from any other error, because fraud, as you know, oftentimes involves collaborative efforts and includes management not using or overriding internal controls. Further, we operate under a no surprises approach, and we are responsible for keeping you informed and your management team of things that we're finding on the audit, significant matters, both on the financial statement and federal single audit sides. We also report our opinion to you as auditors on your financial statements and federal awards. On a side note, you may recall last year, my office was granted authority to conduct procedural reviews of county treasurer's offices. Our presentation today will not cover it. That is a separate review. However, my team is currently conducting the procedural review of Pima County Treasurer's Office, and we certainly will report to you separately when we've concluded that work. Next slide, please. On this slide, I'm sorry, I might be one behind. Next slide, please. There we go. On this slide are some of the key county responsibilities for the audit process, including providing accurate financial statements and financial information in accordance with accounting principles and federal requirements. Additionally, providing fraud representations, including formal communication from the county about your responsibilities for preventing fraud, that you have communicated with my team about all known and suspected fraud, and that you have not hidden or failed to provide any material information to my team. We sent the fraud representation letter to the board in July of 2025 for the audit results we are discussing today. Additionally, the county is responsible for taking corrective action on any audit findings, which includes providing a written corrective action plan that is included in your audit reports, and we'll briefly discuss that later in our presentation. Finally, the county is responsible for providing my team with unrestricted access to staff, documentation, information systems, and any resources necessary to complete the audit. This also includes meeting deadlines that were previously agreed upon at the start of the audit. Next slide, please. Oops, if we could go back to that one. Perfect. It keeps advancing. Apologies. Today we'll be discussing our audit work on 3 required annual reports. So the first is the county's annual comprehensive financial report. Second is the report on internal control and on compliance. And finally, the federal single audit report. As we have done in the past, when your annual reports were completed, we emailed each of you links to these reports, which we issued in February and March of this year, respectively. The first report, the county's annual comprehensive financial report, presents the county's annual financial statements and our opinion on them. For fiscal year 2025, I am happy to report Really good news that we reported an unmodified, which is an auditor's term for a clean opinion, which means the county's financial statements are reliable. The second report, a report on internal control and compliance, which is included in the single audit report, is where we report any findings and recommendations resulting from our audit of the county's financial statements. We reported two federal or financial statement findings, and Vicki will cover those later in our presentation. Finally, the third and final report, the federal single audit report, includes our assessment of the county's compliance with federal program requirements over each federal program that we are required to audit and express an opinion on. This report allows the federal government to understand if the county is spending federal monies in compliance with the requirements. So for fiscal year 2025, we reported qualified opinions due to non-compliance regarding reporting compliance requirements on 2 of 5 major federal programs or clusters that we tested. This also resulted in 2 single audit findings. Again, Vicki will cover those shortly. Before we get into those findings, Catherine is briefly going to go through the county's 5-year financial trends and highlights. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and County Administrator Lesher. My name is Catherine Edwards-Decker. Because we know these reports can be lengthy and complex, we also prepare audit report highlights, which is a 3-page summary that you received with the single audit report. I would like to take the opportunity to present some key financial information for the county over the last 5 years, which are included in the highlights. The graph that's on the screen here highlights the 5-year trend of the county's revenues, expenses, and total net position. Total county revenues are shown in light blue, and total county expenses are shown in dark blue. It's important to note that the county's revenues have exceeded its expenses since at least fiscal year 2021. The county's 4 main sources of revenue continue to be county property tax, federal and state grant programs, shared state sales tax, and county sales taxes. The county's property taxes increased in 2025 by nearly $39.8 million due to an increased net assessed valuations of taxable property in the county, while federal and state grant programs decreased by $51.3 million due to expiration or termination of COVID-19 funding. Overall, the total of all county revenues decreased by $64.6 million in fiscal year 25. The county's 4 primary expense purposes continue to consist of general government, public safety, health and welfare, and highways and streets. Public safety and highways and streets have remained relatively consistent since the prior fiscal period, while general government expenses have increased by $55.4 million. Mostly attributed to the recognition of the county's new ERP system and salary increases. Health and welfare expenses have fluctuated up and down a little over the last 5 years, however, decreased by $27.2 million in fiscal year 25, mostly due to the completion of the new medical examiner's building. Overall, total county expenses increased by $14.1 million for fiscal year 25. Also, you can see from the bar line that's on the chart that the county's net position, also referred to as its reserves, is considerably higher than its current revenue or expenses. Most importantly, the county's overall net position increased in fiscal year 2025. The total net position for the county was $2.9 billion as of June 30th, 2025. And it's important to note that not all of the net position balance was spendable, because at the end of fiscal year 2025, $2.7 billion was invested in capital assets. An additional $480 million was restricted, which leaves a negative unrestricted balance of $301 million. This is primarily attributed to the county's pension liability, which was $547 million at the end of fiscal year 2025. Next slide, please. Finally, I would like to highlight the county's federal expenditures that are presented each year in the single audit report. You can see from the table on the screen that the 4 largest federal agencies the county received federal grants for were from the Department of Treasury, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Labor, and the Department of Homeland Security. You can see a decrease in federal expenditures for fiscal year 25. Again, nearly 52 million, primarily due to a reduction in the amount of COVID-19 pandemic monies the county received and spent, specifically from the Department of Treasury and the Department of Homeland Security. The county's Department of Treasury programs, Emergency Rental Assistance Program, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, and Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund all decreased by 9.2 million, 7.6 million, and 7.9 million respectively from the previous year. In addition, the Department of Homeland Security programs, the Emergency Food and Shelter National Board program decreased by 22.6 million, and Shelter and Services program expenditures decreased by 3.4 million. Next slide, please. Vicki will now discuss the county's 4 current audit findings and the recommendations that we reported in fiscal year 2025 reports, as well as the county's progress on implementing recommendations from our prior year audit findings.
Good evening, Madam Chair Allen, members, and County Administrator Lesher. My name is Victoria Fisher. And before we discuss the findings reported in fiscal year 25 audits, we'd like to acknowledge the county's process in correcting prior year findings. Our auditing standards require that we follow up on any prior year audit findings until they have been fully corrected. And in fiscal year in 24, we reported 2 financial statement findings and 4 federal findings. The financial statement findings were related to information technology deficiencies. One of these IT findings was fully corrected, and the other was partially corrected. And we reported similar recommendations in 25 that I will discuss shortly. The 4 federal compliance findings were related to not accurately compiling its schedule of expenditures of federal awards, commonly known as the CFA. And the county identified this finding as partially corrected, and we reported similar recommendations in 25. They also did not perform all required monitoring of its subrecipients' activities for compliance with award terms and program requirements. The county identified this finding as partially corrected. However, because we found no deficiencies in the programs we audited in fiscal year 25, we did not report a similar finding. There were also 2 federal reporting findings. They were related to lack of policies and procedures to perform an independent review and approval of reports prior to submitting them to the federal awarding agencies, and not always reporting accurate information or retaining documentation to support the submitted reports. The county identified these findings as partially corrected, and we reported similar reporting recommendations in 25. Next slide, please. Now, moving on to our fiscal year 2025 audit findings and recommendations. The report on internal control and compliance is where you'll find the financial statement findings along with the county's responses to them. The first financial statement finding 2025-01 identified deficiencies in the county's control procedures over IT systems and data that increase the risk of inadequate system and data protection. We found deficiencies over restricting access that helps ensure systems and data are accessed by users who have need. The access granted is appropriate,
and access is monitored and reviewed. We also found that securing IT systems and data that help prevent and detect and respond to instances of unauthorized access or inappropriate access or use, manipulation, damage, or loss to its IT systems and data. Next slide, please. To correct this finding, we made 5 recommendations to the county. Make it a priority to develop and document comprehensive IT policies and procedures and ensure the procedures are consistently followed. Assign and regularly review employee user access for job role appropriateness. Review all other account access to confirm ongoing need and appropriateness. Strengthen authentication requirements across IT systems and provide ongoing IT security training to all employees on IT security risk and responsibilities. This is a similar finding to the 2024-02 finding that was initially reported in fiscal year 24. And the county reported it anticipates correcting this finding and implementing recommendations by December 31st of 2026. Next slide, please. The second financial statement finding 2025-02 was reported by other auditors who audited the Pima County School Reserve Fund, a component unit of Pima County included in Pima County's annual comprehensive financial report, in which we relied upon the other auditors' work over the Pima County School Reserve Fund. The other auditors found that the county's school superintendent's office did not timely reconcile its school reserve fund's cash balances to the county treasurer's balances, increasing the risk of ineffective management of school reserve resources and inaccurate financial reporting. Next slide, please. To correct this finding, the other auditors made 1 recommendation to the county school superintendent's office to complete cash reconciliations timely, promptly research and resolve differences, and post any needed adjustments to the school reserve or the county treasurer's records. The county school superintendent's office reported it corrected this finding and implemented recommendations in December 2025. I'll now go over the 2 federal compliance findings we reported in the single audit report. Next slide, please. The first federal finding, 2025-01, we reported the county did not accurately compile its CFA. As a result, the county's initially prepared CFA contained errors, increasing the risk of misinforming those who rely on the CFA. Specifically, the county understated total expenditures by nearly 3.9 million, overstated total expenditures passed through to subrecipients by roughly $694,000, and excluded 2 pass-through entities totaling approximately $310,000. The county subsequently corrected these errors from the initial draft and resubmitted its corrected CFA for audit. Next slide, please. To correct this finding, we made 2 recommendations to the county. The first, to accurately prepare the CFA by providing training on existing policies and procedures to perform detailed CFA preparation steps and review the CFA for accuracy prior to submitting it for audit. The second was to create and maintain comprehensive listing of federal funds recorded in its accounting system. This finding is similar to the prior finding 2024-101, which was initially reported in fiscal year 2024. The county reported it anticipates correcting this finding and implementing recommendations by June 30, 2027. Next slide, please.
The second and final federal compliance finding 2025-102, we reported that the county's Grants Management and Innovation Department did not develop, document, or implement internal control procedures to monitor compliance with programs, reporting, or cash management requirements for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, the WIOA cluster, the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds Program, and the Immunization Cooperative Agreements Program. For 13 of 17 reports we tested, we found the department did not perform an independent review and approval of reports prior to submitting them to the federal awarding agency or pass-through grantor to ensure the reported expenditures were accurate, agreed to county records, and contained only allowable expenditures. We found this for 9 of 9 WIOA monthly reconciliation reports we tested, 3 of 4 coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, quarterly project and expenditure reports we tested, and 1 of 4 immunization cooperative agreement programs quarterly contract expenditure reports we tested. And these quarterly reports are also used to request reimbursement from the federal agency. Now, despite the lacking internal control procedures, we did not find any inaccurate WIOA or immunization cooperative agreements information reported incorrectly. For the state and local recovery funds and the immunization cooperative agreements programs, we did identify noncompliance. For the state and local fiscal recovery funds reports, we found the department did not retain documentation such as system reports, screenshots, or queries to support the information it reported. And for the immunization cooperative agreements programs, the department did not prepare and submit timely immunization bridge access program information to the federal agency for monitoring. Specifically, the department failed to submit the 3 quarterly certified expenditure reports by their required due dates in fiscal year 25, and instead submitted 1 report containing or covering all of the fiscal year 25 quarterly information. The noncompliance that we found in these 2 programs resulted in qualified opinions for the program's reporting compliance requirements. Next slide. To correct this finding, we made 6 recommendations to the county. Independently review and approve all federal reports before submitting the reports to ensure the reported expenditures were accurate, agreed to county records, and contained only allowable expenditures. Keep detailed supporting documentation such as system reports, screenshots, or queries related to the submitted reports to ensure accurate and complete program information is reported. Submit the immunization cooperative agreement reports by their quarterly due date. Follow county and federal requirements to retain all records relating to federal awards for a period of 3 years from the date of the submission of the reports. Implement policies and procedures to perform and document independent review and approval of all federal program reports. And finally, implement a tracking system to ensure timely submissions. This finding is similar to the prior year finding 2024-104 initially reported in fiscal year 24. The county reported it anticipates correcting this finding and implementing recommendations by June 30, 2027. Next slide, please. I want to thank
Madam Chair Allen, members, and County Administrator Lesher for having us present our audit results today. I'd also like to thank the county staff for their cooperation during the audits. We've had a really good working relationship with them, with management and staff. This completes our presentation for the fiscal year 25 audit results. Are there any questions that we can answer for you concerning our audits?
Supervisor Hines.
Thank you, Chair Allen. Thank you all for your report. I'm just curious, given in 2025, there was, of course, in January, a change of administration at the federal level that greatly complicated federal grants and changes in rules and just kind of all sorts of chaos going on at the federal level. How did you all navigate the audit of 2025? Some of those changing requirements, or I'm just curious of how that your ability to do the audit here for 2025.
Thank you for the question. So for the federal compliance audits, we use Office of Management and Budget. They issue a compliance supplement, and we audit in accordance with that. So those rules are usually published a little prior to the start of the calendar year, and were in effect for 25 as of, I believe, November of 24.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Supervisor Kano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to thank all members of the Auditor General's team, but especially General Perry. You have incredible responsibility tasked not just by statute, but by the legislature. And two of us have spent some time on this dais there, and we know the duties in front of you are vast and great. These efforts, the recommendations that you've suggested, of course, will be taken very seriously by this board and, of course, by our county administrator. And I want to give a special thanks to our finance team, who also works diligently to ensure that the work and the preparation that happens every single year and in consecutive years for this particular report, that it's done with the utmost professionalism and integrity. And it goes both ways. And I'm very pleased with the recommendations and staff's input as well, so that they can be implemented. And thank you, General Perry.
Thank you, Supervisor.
I would also like to extend my gratitude for the work that you've done. I think, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of uncovering issues and bringing forth recommendations is helpful, right? It is important, and it is what needs to be done. So I thank you for doing that. I also, was sort of thinking about the year, right? The years and the funding, like the unique situation in which we were found, which I think is comparable, right, to other local governments. And that, in looking through some of the funds that Grants Management, the Innovation Department, GMI, had at the time, it was the $203 million from the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, the $52.6 million for humanitarian aid. So Pima County could care for and process the average of 1,100 people per day, right, who were the legal asylum seekers. The $45 million in emergency rental assistance, right, ensuring that thousands didn't become homeless or lose their homes. And that in implementing some of the requirements of that funding, right, a lot of it was done through subrecipients and working with community partners. I guess I'm sort of, maybe my question is, sort of given the totality of those funds, like that is a pretty remarkable amount of funds, is what you, some of the recommendations that you're making, was it exceptional, right? Like, was that were we going through sort of pretty unusual or exceptional time? And I guess I'm just wondering if there were like lessons that were then learned from this sort of exceptional period of time with these enormous grants, going through some different crises.
Madam Chair, thank you for the question. I think there's always something to learn from audit findings, and I certainly appreciate Administrator Lesher and the finance team always taking those with open arms to improve the county. I don't know that we're in any different situation or maybe a better situation than we were in COVID. That was a tremendous influx of federal dollars into the state, into the counties, into local governments. And so I think a lot of us learned a lot from that process. To Supervisor Heinz's question too, the federal requirements were changing probably by the day during the COVID pandemic, and money's being rolled out starting in March of 2020, and trying to figure out from a governance position how to distribute those monies in line with the federal requirements that were changing. So I think that Pima County has evolved with that. I would say that the findings that we're seeing are not remarkable. They are, pretty standard findings that we see in other entities with difficulties with the CFA, but I know you've got a finance team that's on top of that and moving forward to make corrections. I think that we all continue to look at the federal government and the monies coming out from the federal government and the requirements around those, and trying to be partners in that of understanding what those requirements are so that the county can follow those. And you're not in jeopardy of having question costs and having to repay the federal government. So the 4 findings that we're talking about today, again, I think those are pretty typical that we see. The federal findings are a little bit unique in that these are programs that the county is managing, but the financial statement findings, the IT controls, that's something that my auditors have been focusing on since 2016, because we know that that's a real risk for counties and local government. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
Thank you. I also want to thank General Perry and Ms. Decker, Ms. Fisher for your report tonight. Wanted to ask Ms. Lesher, we get a monthly financial update every month. We had one tonight during our study session. I'm wondering if we could incorporate into the monthly financial update a section where you and your team brief us on how you're following up on the recommendations from the Auditor General and her team. I think that would be instructive to the board if that could be in addition to the monthly financial update. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Any further questions?
I move that we may, if I may, I'd like to move that we accept the 2024-2025 report of the Auditor General.
Seconded by Supervisor Allen. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members.
Thank you. We have a time certain at 6:45. I am wondering if those who are here for that 6:45 would be game for doing it a little bit early. Okay, I see 2 head shakes. So let's then go over to item number, it is 19 on the regular agenda. This is unfinished business from a previous meeting, 2026 Regional Transportation Authority Special Election. This is an item from District 4. So I will pass to Supervisor Christie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Recorder and Madam Elections Director, thank you so much for coming here tonight to go over the after action report. We didn't have a chance to do it in the last couple of meetings, and we appreciate your willingness to be here tonight to answer some questions regarding that report. First, Madam Elections Director, Ms. Cargrove, thank you for your very comprehensive and detailed report. It covered a whole wide range of areas and issues very comprehensively. It was an easy read, and I appreciate, and I know the community appreciates your conscientious efforts to provide a very clear and dedicated synopsis of the voting situation in a highly irregular election, the RTA election. Really, I only have one question for you, and that is, what do you foresee or predict or envision as any kind of new approach for the upcoming primary election and any elections after that?
Chair Allen, members of the board, good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here to actually speak to that. So for future elections, of course, we now have our portal, citizens portal, where individuals who present propositions to the county that the county is responsible for can now have citizens provide their arguments for and against anything that they put forward. So that is definitely a step forward. We are actually required to have that, but that's a step forward, as well as our new election night reporting. Got to highlight that, our new election night reporting, where you can actually see the results of the county's election right there immediately without having to go to the state's website to see it. Of course, with statewide elections, you still have to go to that site. One of the major things that we have implemented so far is the ballot proofing, which I'll have more information, of course, after we get through this election. But so far with the new ballot proofing and having the additional individuals come in to take a look at what we're doing. Of course, anytime when you look at something all the time, it all begins to look the same. And as far as you know, it's correct, right? So your brain begins to kind of transform things into what it should be when maybe shouldn't. So very small, minute, maybe formatting, maybe quotation marks. One may be one way, one may be in a different direction. Bolding, different things like that were caught very quickly with these proofers. So I was really excited about that. And then just other things that we would, in the first stage of the proofing process, that we actually caught before it actually got to the third tier, which would still be in my office to proof. So we were really excited about that. The timeline worked out well, and we were able to get those proofs out to the candidates this week for them to review so that we can timely submit those to the vendor. Moving forward, the recorder's office and the elections department, we work very closely together. We communicate often before the election, during the election, and after the election. And so I think what we are looking forward to going forward is a better coordination of election day when we do have vote centers open, and there are sites open for early voting, emergency voting on Monday. When we do our Monday night setup, a better coordination of how we transition from one part of the election to the other part before election day. We are in the process of meeting with libraries to ensure that everyone has an understanding of the two different functions, the two different offices, what the different requirements are, that the recorder's office is actually a separate entity who needs the space for 27 days, whereas the elections office only needs that space for basically 2 days. So we reserve it for the Monday to go in and set up, and then we reserve it for Tuesday. Lots of things to look forward to. One of the things that you can look forward to is the new law that is in place, and I'm gonna make this very brief, where individuals can drop off their early ballots at a vote center, have it ID verified. So we would verify the individual's identification. We would stamp that early ballot. It goes in a separate box for us, whereas that ballot now does not have to go through signature verification because we've already verified it at the vote center. And so one of the exciting things about Pima County is that we are already implementing where we can check these voters into our e-poll books. And we can verify at the end of the night how many we checked in against our count of ballots, physical ballots that we have. We can produce a report for the recorder's office where they can upload that information and give the voters a record of vote without actually having to touch these ballots a second time. So we're really excited about that. So that's a new process that will be in place on election day, and more information to come. So we will have some communications going out about that so voters will know what to expect on election day. So.
And I failed to mention also a thanks for your accessibility. And if there's ever been an issue with any of my constituents or anybody in particular that with the voting process, you and your staff have always been accessible, always been available, and it's highly and greatly appreciated for that kind of forthcoming. So thank you. And I think as my final question to you, Ms. Hargrove, do you have any idea what the final question I might be asking you right now might be?
What's keeping me up at night?
That's the one.
Honestly, lots of things. So, but thank you for that question.
Nothing specific you'd want to share?
No, sir, not at the moment.
Well, thank you again very much for your report and for your thoroughness and preparation. Madam Recorder, I have a number of questions. One of them we discussed the last time you were here on this issue, and that has to do with the vote mobile. In your final report, you mentioned that this project was made possible by a grant from the Donna Autumn Nation in partnership with the Pima County Board of Supervisors. This was a grant given to the Elections Department by the nation. It was not revealed how much the grant was for or the purpose of what the grant was for to the Board of Supervisors. We had no knowledge, no understanding, no idea about this vote mobile until it was presented to us. And I think it's not accurate to say that we were in any kind of a partnership when the Board of Supervisors never received any information on it, nor did we approve it or not. But you were able to get it approved through the process, but it was not divulged or brought before the Board of Supervisors.
If I may, that's actually not true. We did go back in and look at the records, and we did find that the Board of Supervisors did receive the grant and approve the grant.
We were not advised of what the grant was for, nor were we advised as to how much.
Oh, we saw the grant language.
That was after it was accepted.
It was what I saw was that the board had saw and approved the contract.
Well, that was not my understanding, but be that as it may, my understanding from our discussion in the last time was that there was no prior knowledge of what the grant was for, what it was going to be used for. But let's move on to the actual vote mobile statistics in your report. You do indicate the places of location that the vote mobile went and the amount of ballots that were dropped off and the replacement ballots that were issued on site. So if you add up all of the locations, roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at those 5 locations, 1,948 ballots were dropped off, and only 42 ballots were issued on site. So 42 people actually voted, while there were just under 2,000 that were dropped off. So really, this is more of a dropping off center rather than a vote center.
Chair Allen, supervisors. First, I'd like to respond to the confusion about the grant. The grant was unanimously approved by the Board of Supervisors on September 6, 2022, and a second supplementary grant was unanimously approved on August 8, 2023 for the purchase of the mobile voting unit. It was very clear within those documents that that was the intention. We went through all appropriate legal processes, through procurement, through legal. We did everything according to the requirements of Pima County to procure that vehicle. And it was very much communicated that we were going to have this mobile voting unit. So that's one. The next thing is, yes, our mobile voting unit is both used for ballot drop-off as well as issuing ballots on site. Many of our locations throughout Pima County have a higher number of ballot drop-offs than they do actual ballots being issued. It is both a part of the benefit of having early voting sites in all of those locations, and a vote mobile is simply a self-contained early voting site.
Well, I think we're not going to be able to agree on the how it was procured, because this was an agreement that was a pass-through item. No grants were listed. And we went through each Boss Air agenda item. No mention that this was X amount of money for the vote mobile. That's our finding. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that. Moving on to observers. We have number of observers at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations, including the vote mobile, the Recorder's Country Club office, processing center, the Country Club office, the main office, the Ward 2 office. Number of observers are listed at each one, respectively, 2, 1, 3, 3, 2. Are these, for instance, Recorder's Country Club office, ballot processing center, number of observers, 2? Is that per day, for the whole month, since the voting is open for a month? What's the breakdown on that? And on the vote mobile, it only was available at a much more limited time frame, and it shows 2 observers. Is that also 2 per day or per week? Or what are the numbers of observers represent as far as participation?
Chair Allen, Board of Supervisors, that number indicates the number of observers that we had during the duration of that election.
Duration, what do you mean duration? The whole time? There were 2 each day, or?
There would have been, and I would have to pull up their logs, but there were several observers who came, I believe, multiple days in a row.
Were there 2 observers there every day during that process?
No.
How many were there during the process?
We don't, other than the information that's listed here, we're not breaking down that information because it is not required for us to have observers in order to complete our functions.
So there very well could have been no observers.
Yes. Their observers are not required for us to complete any of our statutory functions whatsoever. It is simply for their personal enjoyment.
Under your title of challenges and resolutions under available voting options, are you open to placing ballot drop boxes, perhaps in Pima County libraries during their hours of operation?
Chair Allen, Board of Supervisors, I am currently in communication with Pima County libraries about the placement of additional ballot drop boxes. We are talking about installing them so that they're available 24/7 during the early voting time frame.
Are libraries under consideration
Yes.
throughout Pima County?
Not throughout Pima County because we have a large number of libraries here, and each ballot drop box is very expensive. It is a $6,000 box for just the box. That does not include freight, taxes, placement, the waterless fire extinguisher, cameras, nor the couriers to empty them. So it is a very expensive option for us to have. However, in locations where there is a high volume, or maybe in areas where it's low volume, in rural locations, we are looking at installing boxes in those additional locations. So currently we're in conversation with Ajo, Cells, Sahuarita, Oro Valley. We're trying to get the University of Arizona. It's not looking like it's going to happen this cycle. We may be bringing forth additional amendments to our drop-off options. We're hoping if we can move this through as quickly as possible that we could have those in place before the primary, but certainly before the general election.
Could they be placed inside the libraries? That way they'd even be more secure and easier to access and operate during hours?
I'm sorry, if I may, Supervisor Christie, these are very specific questions. I'm wondering if perhaps you could submit these in writing to the recorder and get answers
I've only
to
got-
some of those specific questions, because I'm not really sure
I've
where we're
only got
going.
a couple, three more to go, and it won't take me long, Madam Chair. And if it gets to be that we can't get an answer, we'll be glad to do that. But just a couple of more questions. One of the issues was a website reporting versus Canvas report, and that the Elections Department caught a discrepancy in the number of eligible voters. And the Elections Department corrected the total that was in the discrepancy. How are you prepared to address those complaints?
Chair Allen, Board of Supervisors, I guess I would like to understand your further question. That issue has been resolved? I don't understand your question.
Well, I'm just going by what you say in your report. It doesn't say it's resolved. It says that there was some discrepancy in the number of eligible voters, as well as also in the single ballot affidavit return envelopes. And you say we are prepared to continue to address these complaints.
I see. My apologies for that. So the original number of eligible voters that we submitted to the Elections Department included a number of federal-only national active voters who are not eligible for jurisdictional elections. It did not make any changes to any of the no ballots were issued to those folks. If they had come, it would have shown up as national active or federal only. And so we realized that we had sent the quarterly report. We're required to send those to the Secretary of State's office. And because this is such a rare, it's such a rare countywide election, it was my staff inadvertently sent the quarterly numbers, which normally would have sufficed. Again, this is specific to a jurisdictional, and so those numbers would have been correct for a federal election. And so we simply sent the wrong information. We completely own up to that. We had a conversation with the Elections Department, and it was through our standard audits that we have multi-day audits after an election to ensure that all of our numbers match up to what they're supposed to. And if there is any reason that it doesn't, it's a red flag for us to take a look at the data. And that's exactly what happened. And so, yes, this has been resolved. It was resolved in time for the canvass. It was completely appropriate. It was completely resolved. It was simply a matter of those federal only voters being reported. And that was, again, it made absolutely no impact to the voters. No voters were impacted whatsoever. And we were able to resolve that. The other situation that we had was a difference in reporting for it was the paper receipts for ballot turnovers. And so a paper receipt is issued after when we wheel over the signature verified ballots over to the Elections Department. We have a physical piece of paper that my staff sign and her staff signs, and they are then uploaded into our online website for public viewing. It is very specific that those reports are available and they are viewable to the public for transparency purposes, but they are not official. They are not the official results of anything. That is simply to show the number. There's a high interest in turnout, and that's what we use them for. Those individual receipts are individually scanned and uploaded, and sometimes they're uploaded within batches at a time. And every once in a while, there might not be one. And through our audits, again, standard automatic thing that we do after every election, we make sure that we have all receipts, all T's crossed, all I's dotted, and we were able to scan that last receipt, and that was never an issue. It was resolved throughout the audit process. We did get a legal challenge, but I will say I can't say too much about that legal challenge, but it was in connection with the proposition of the sale of software or something of that sort.
Well, thank you for that. And my final question, Madam Chair, is I'd just like to point out that in your locations for the ballot drop-offs and future initiatives, we don't see any action in that regard in Vale, Green Valley, the Tanque Verde Valley, or really on the southeast side. And I'm hoping that that's going to be taken into consideration.
We will have an early voting location in Sahuarita. It's not a vote mobile. We are actually we're going to be there for multiple days within that region. And so that has been a conversation that I think there's a overall struggle.
Anything we can do in our district office to assist in your finessing that ability to get locations, of course, we're available. But I appreciate the fact that you're looking into that and trying to be as accommodating as possible. It means a lot to the folks out there, as you can imagine. With that, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Madam Recorder. And did you want to say something else?
Yes, can I just, Madam Chair, speak to the observers? So throughout the course of the election, the parties will provide observers. They will send observers to observe whatever processes we may be doing at the time. So we have our early ballot processing, and we have our tabulation processing throughout the election, and then, of course, election day. There is not always an observer assigned to the early ballot processing. It really depends on the staffing of the parties and who they can find to do it. So for me, if I were speaking, if you asked me the same question, I do not keep track of how many observers are there per day. We do know who's there. Normally there is someone in a tabulation room. There's always someone in a tabulation room, and we try to ensure that they do have enough people to do that. But on a daily basis, we may not see someone in every area where we're processing ballots. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. I will just say thank you both for being here. Thank you for your transparency. Right. Both reports, I think, were a reflection of having strong internal controls and demonstrating that internal controls work. That's why you have them. You've reported them, and I appreciate your sort of prompt response as items are identified, things to fix and improve. And so I really appreciate the work and the accountability that I think is exemplified from both of your offices. And knowing that it has been a whirlwind of nonstop elections. So given all of that, much appreciation for all that you and your teams do. Thank you. Okay, we are, I was asked if we could approve quickly an item that is connected to the audit. So that is item 32. And then I promise we will get back to call to the public, and then just the roadmap of where we go from call to the public. We are going to move from call to the public to item, which item is it? Addendum item number 3, which is the board oversight and potential responses concerning the office of the sheriff, because I know that there are people here interested in that item as well. So going to the item that needed to be approved in conjunction with the audit, it is item number 32. 32.
Chair Allen.
Item 32. I will move to approve the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? Supervisor Hines?
No, I was just continue to.
All right, well, I just have to note that I will support the approval of this because it is contingent. It is connected to the audit, but I found it a little bit appalling. This is a state statute that I would define as sort of the white fragility state statute because it says, certifying that Pima County won't require an employee to engage in training, orientation, or therapy that presents any form of blame or judgment based on race, ethnicity, or sex, and further won't use public monies for training, orientation, or therapy that prevents any form of blame of judgment based on race, ethnicity, or sex. Because this is a state statute, we need to be in conformance. We are required, essentially, we have to approve this, but the absurdity of this law is even more evident today in a state that is facing a financial crisis, families that can't afford day-to-day expenses, and a federal government whose policies not only punish working people, but want to make people of color, women, and queer people literally and figuratively disappear. So it is with great objection that I am forced to approve this state requirement.
And this is 32 year.
This is item 32. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. Item passes 4-1. No one said it had to be approved unanimously. All right. Now we will move back to call to the public. We have, and thank you for your patience, everyone, our next three speakers is just simply Regis. Then we have Lori Moore and Bruce Wheeler. As a reminder, 3 minutes to each of you.
Hi, my name is Reyes Suarez. I'm not a paid speaker, though I am presenting on behalf of DFLOC Tucson. I want to thank you for having these evening sessions and allowing those who work the standard schedule an opportunity to voice our concerns. Today, I want to address AI surveillance. From 2019 to 2021 in Pima County, there were 4 ALPRs set up. From 2021 to 2024, there were 10 implemented. And then in 2025 alone, there were 227 put up on our streets. By January of this year, there were 60 put up. By that trend, there could be over 300 placed just this year, almost doubling that amount, total amount. According to the Institute of Justice Peace, there have been at least 14 incidents nationwide in which officers misuse access to these cameras for personal reasons, such as stalking former romantic partners, spouses, and even strangers that just caught their eye. Most of these cases were only brought forward when the victims themselves discovered that their license plates were searched by auditing the site haveibeenflocked.com. The same institute believes that due to a lack of sufficient auditing process, these incidents are likely to be much more prevalent due to this technology being so new and the general public not even knowing how to look it up themselves. We have allowed a system where law enforcement decides unilaterally on the powers they are allowed to wield with next to no transparency and no oversight. TPD and the Sheriff's Department claim this data isn't being shared with ICE, but Oro Valley has access to this data and is working with ICE. They even purchased 4 flock drones through the Homeland Security Stone Garden funding. You can't guarantee this data is not helping ICE round up our neighbors. The Fourth Amendment was clear that there were supposed to be protections blocking from unreasonable searches and seizures. All this data can be accessed without warrant, and it's much more than a lack of expectation of privacy. That's reserved for a static camera in a single location or perspective. These AI cameras are always watching and from inconceivable amounts of angles and locations. It's more in effect to the GPS location feed, which is barred from retrieval without warrants or consent. And with only a limited period of time, these are constantly going. And I don't believe the 30-day limit exists. If you aren't willing to remove these cameras, we at the very least need to give the public a chance to express our concerns in a town hall setting. This board lost a lot of respect with the data center vote and recent knowledge of discretions from the sheriff. This could be a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lori Moore.
I think we should order pizza. My name is Laurie Moore, District 1. I'm very grateful that we still say the Pledge of Allegiance before these meetings. To the Democrats on this board, I'm questioning your understanding of the word sovereign and your belief that the United States is a sovereign nation. Observations that I have made at these meetings make me question your loyalty to this nation and the U.S. citizens of Pima County. Mexico, for example, has flooded this country with drugs and human trafficking, yet there is a flag of Mexico hanging in the foyer, and no other foreign countries are so represented. In addition, the Democrats on this board have aided and abetted hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens to enter the United States, violating the law that says people fleeing for persecution must stay in the first landmass of safe harbor. It does not mean traveling across 2 oceans and 2 continents to get here. We also know that the liberals are fond of a saying, there are no illegals on stolen land, as if that slogan is going to halt ICE deportations. Your actions prove to me that the Democrats on this board believe that statement is to be true in word and deed. By funding the open border invasion in an attempt to rig elections and inject socialism and communism into this country, your actions do not reflect any desire to protect and defend the sovereignty of the United States. This is a violation of your oath of office and a violation to your commitment to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the laws of Arizona. You need to resign. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I also have a question regarding the recorder's appearance tonight. She said that IDs are checked, voter IDs, but I think there are many forms of ID, and I just want to make sure that they're clarifying the IDs prove citizenship to vote. That's my question. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bruce Wheeler, and then following Bruce Wheeler, our next 3 speakers and final speakers will be Paula Cortez, Reed Sperling, and JP Salvatierra in that order. Mr. Wheeler.
Wow. Well, good evening, members. Ever since candidates have run for public office, many have lied, cheated, and even stolen their way into office. In fact, a good number of present-day office holders across our land fall into these examples of untruthfulness and treachery. I would like to address your possible decision on whether to remove the elected sheriff from office. It is troubling to think that 3 elected individuals can unelect, remove from office someone else elected and voted into office by thousands of voters as well. I believe that if you judge to remove Sheriff Nanos from office, you would be acting against the will of the people, voters that voted for him. At its core, such action would be undemocratic, I believe. To be clear, I publicly endorsed Sheriff Nanos' opponent, Mark Napier. I was at the time a Democratic legislator. Mark is a Republican. And my God, how times have changed. So I am not an apologist nor a supporter of Sheriff Nanos. You face a wide slipstream of an issue, far more important at play here. It is about the democratic process and the vote of the people. In the case of treachery, dishonesty, or incompetence by elected officials, we, the public, are afforded remedies to such misbehavior. We can recall, we can vote them out of office, or we can impeach. In the sheriff's case, the former 2 options are available to us. In summary, with the anachronism of an electoral college, which strips us all of a democratic 1 person, 1 vote in our national election process, gerrymandering, which has been unleashed on steroids by both parties, I truly believe that if here 3, 4, or 5 of you were to vote to remove an elected official who may have or not acted dishonorably, but who has not committed a crime, you would be contributing to a most serious decline within our democratic fabric, that of our most cherished democratic values, the voice of the citizen, their vote. Such action may prove to be yet another serious blow against this already sorry collapsing house of cards, our democratic process. Please, I respectfully, to each of you, I urge you, reprimand if you must, but let the people judge and decide this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Paula Cortez.
Good evening, Chair Allen and members of the board. My name is Paula Cortez. I'm here with my son, Christian Cortez. My younger son, Jonathan, died on April 2nd at the age of 36. 16 days earlier than that, he had been released to the care of Pima County Adult Probation from Pima County Jail, where he had served a 90-day sentence for drug use. I am here because I feel a strong responsibility to share publicly the series of events that followed his release, in the hopes that it never happens to another person in a similar situation. My son's sentence included a mandated door-to-door handoff from jail directly into residential treatment through adult probation, and both he and I were grateful for it. During his 90 days of abstinence, my son had regained clarity, physical strength, and hope for a sober future. He was eager to comply with probation. Tragically, the door-to-door handoff never occurred. In the morning of his release, instead of taking him directly to a residential program, his probation officer gave him a list of phone numbers, asked me if I would take him into my home, and told him to notify her when he found placement for himself. Nonetheless, he remained motivated and compliant, but abandoned. Then, a mere 5 days after leaving jail, Jonathan admitted to using both alcohol and drugs. The speed of relapse should surprise no one. What followed was an unsupported race to get him into a facility before the relapse spiraled farther. Communication from probation remained vague despite repeated requests for guidance, and meanwhile, my son became too sick to search for help himself. By the time I located a facility in Tucson that had a bed, he was already critically ill. He was transferred to Tucson Medical Center and died less than 24 hours later. The medical examiner confirmed that his death was caused by stroke linked to his recent drug use. Since my son's death, I have learned about the budget and staffing shortages and overwhelming caseloads affecting Pima County Adult Probation. Overburdened officers lack the time to properly coordinate treatment placement. I cannot know what the outcome would have been if the court-ordered transfer directly into treatment had happened. But I do know that in its absence, my son went from sober, hopeful, and compliant on March 15th to terminally ill on April 1st. I feel a duty to bring to your attention how shortages in funding are leading to dangerous gaps for people at extremely high risk of relapse, recidivism, homelessness, and even death immediately after release from jail. The individuals, their families, and our entire community are bearing the consequences. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss. Our next speaker is Reed Sperling.
Good evening, supervisors. My name is Reed, and I'm not paid to be here. Pima County residents and communities across Arizona are fed up with the willingness of our elected officials to commodify and sell off our land and water for surveillance enabling big data centers. In the middle of rapidly worsening drought and the rise in heat deaths that you acknowledged today, data centers are now the main driver of a boom in the fossil fuel industry, causing these problems for Pima County families in the first place. Your constituents' increasing frustration with this untenable situation is shown in part by the disruption that took place at the law offices of Lazarus and Sylvan last Thursday. These attorneys are representing Beal Infrastructure, the developer of the Project Blue data center, widely opposed by Pima County residents and unanimously rejected by the Tucson City Council. Supervisor Hines and Supervisor Scott, when Beal lied to Pima County last summer about your contract with them, you did not speak out then. When Beal made a deal with TEP, planning to pay for hundreds of megawatts worth of new generators by raising our electric bills, you did not speak out then. When you had a chance to review the health impacts of Project Blue, you voted no. And when Beal was recently caught stealing water from the city of Tucson, you did not speak out then. Instead, you quickly stepped in to defend Beal's lawyer, Lazarus and Sylvan, after protesters played drums and carried signs inside their offices. Is this really where your priorities lie? As far as I'm aware, protesting remains legal and the physical safety of Lazarus and Sylvan's staff was not threatened. I was watching their presentation to the Arizona Planning Association on Zoom. At the time, they were able to resume the presentation just a few minutes after the disruption began. The presenter said he wasn't sure he could have had a better introduction to his discussion of the history and politics of zoning. When politicians hand away their power to private industry behind closed doors, protests must remain focused on those in power by shifting that focus to private industry. This protest was civil disobedience in the proudest sense of the term, drawing attention to the representatives of wealthy developers who prefer to operate without accountability and who see Pima County as their personal monopoly board. Supervisor Hines and Supervisor Scott, you have no standing to dictate the behavior of your constituents, especially if they choose to protest a law firm that you appear to have close relationships with. I asked you this time last time I was here, and I am increasingly worried about what a truthful answer might tell us. Who do you work for?
Thank you. Our next speaker is JP Salvatierra.
Madam Chair, Supervisors, I'm here to identify 2026 RTA Next non-existent canvas. In my last meeting before you, I mentioned that no effort was made to review, critique, or prudently address the RTA Next Props 418, 419, and pose any effort to effect procedural canvas scrutiny. The Pima County Election Commission was not prompted to appear before the board to ascertain any action as prescribed by law regarding the duty taken to verify that the accuracy and logic, along with all requisite functions, were completed, along with any unusual potential errors of omissions, commissions, or unexpected flaws in vote tabulation that occurred for your clarification and corrective measure taken. In fact, the agenda item for an election canvas presentation was moved ahead by a full week. Then, no prescribed discussion to effect your prudent oversight was made before a motion to close, move to accept with a second and a single member vote received by the clerk, 73 seconds. This was essentially the same effort and effect as moving an item to be reviewed at a later time because intentionality prevailed to forego the prudent following of procedure to demand a presentation by the Election Commission. Was something ominously remiss in the previous warning that you received from Mr. John Brakey, who made a call to the audience clarification? Ignorance of the law regarding your collective fiduciary duty to the prudent and faithful service to the public has been seriously breached. Was another politically motivated objective a possible rationale for the blatant misconduct? The act of voting is private. The adherence to the protection and preserving of undiminished tabulation of that vote is a pure and sacrosanct act. I pray that you don't perform any other politically motivated actions against Sheriff Nanos, as the true culprit in this is the HR over 10 years that never did anything to verify or create rescission of that contract agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no other speakers. I am now closing call to the public. And would any board members like to do any of the following? Request staff to follow up on any matter from call to the public, request that an item be placed on a future agenda, or respond to a criticism. No? Well, I have two kind of follow-ups. One is that I would like to understand the use of flock cameras within the county. I had been told that we don't have them, but would love to know whether we do or don't, and to what extent. And then second, I would like to know if there's more that we can learn about what happened to the young man, and what happened with adult probation, and why that handoff did not happen in the way that it was supposed to. Thank you. All right, we are now going to move to, and we're going to kind of take two items. We're going to hear, we're going to kind of look at the same time. Item number 25 from the regular agenda, that is the carry over or continued unfinished business item, the report from Sheriff Nanos, and addendum item number 3, which is the board oversight and potential responses concerning the office of the sheriff.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
I move that the Pima County Board of Supervisors declare the office of Pima County Sheriff as vacant and begin the process to replace the current sheriff immediately.
Hearing no second, the motion fails. Supervisor Scott.
On the advice of legal counsel, I move that we take no action to declare the office of sheriff vacant, nor to move for the removal of the sheriff based on Arizona Revised Statute 11-253. Also, on the advice of counsel, I move that we refer allegations of potential perjury by the sheriff to the Arizona Attorney General's office, and to direct the county administrator to do so on behalf of the board, and that the board takes no position on whether or not perjury was committed.
I will second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain?
Item passes with four votes with one abstention.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Scott.
since we're also considering item number 25, I think that the motion that we just approved unanimously with one abstention speaks for itself. But my chief concern with what's been going on within the sheriff's department is that our elected sheriff has taken no discernible efforts to repair relationships and trust within our largest department. I think the most telling example of that was the unanimous vote of the Pima County Deputies Organization declaring no confidence in his leadership. Yes, there were over 60 members of that organization who abstained, but nobody voted that they had confidence in the sheriff's leadership, and well over 250 of the members of the organization voted no confidence. That's very telling with regard to climate and feelings about the stewardship of the department by its frontline employees. Just as telling are the emails and letters board offices have received from current and former Pima County Sheriff's Department employees who have expressed no faith or trust in the sheriff's leadership. They've offered very specific examples of pettiness, favoritism, rash decision-making. To be fair, we have also heard from a number of employees who've expressed their support for the sheriff, but there really is only one person in that department who can bring all those people together. And again, it's our largest department in terms of number of employees, and that's the leader. He needs to take not just the first step, but the second step, the third step, the fourth step, the fifth step to try and bring up the level of climate within that department. You have to first admit the obvious, that there is a real crisis of confidence within the department in his leadership. Then you have to reach out both publicly and privately to both individuals and groups within the department, seeking their input and offering to engage in honest dialogue. Third, you need to offer, after those communicative efforts, you need to bring forth a plan to rebuild rapport, relationships, and trust, and ask to be held accountable for its success. Based on the advice of legal counsel, I believe, and obviously the majority of the board agrees, that we have the right to remove the sheriff, declare the office vacant. He met his obligations under the statute. But I think it's important that we make the referral to the Attorney General's office that we did. And what is most important is that the sheriff take immediate action to repair the extraordinary climate of distrust and lack of faith in his leadership. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Thank you, Supervisor Scott. Supervisor Kano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to acknowledge that for many people in our community, this discussion has been deeply personal and deeply concerning. I understand the genuine care that people have for the integrity of leadership within our sheriff's department and for the future of public safety throughout our county. And I also understand how difficult it can be to see your values reflected in a sheriff that you disagree with. I know this because I lived through it. When SB 1070 was signed into law in 2010, I was a college student in Maricopa County during the height of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's power. Just blocks from my dorm room, I watched families and immigrants living in fear, and most importantly, I watched neighbors lose faith in what public safety was supposed to mean. What I learned during that time is that the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors was not the ultimate decider of whether Sheriff Arpaio stayed in office or not. The people were. And the people acted through the democratic process by recalling Sheriff Arpaio. I use this example because it's relevant to the conversation we are having tonight. In Arizona, county sheriffs are elected directly by the people every 4 years. They are not hired by a board of supervisors, and they cannot be removed by the board in the way a city manager can appoint or dismiss a city police chief. However, over the last month, this board exercised a narrowly defined oversight tool in statute to ask questions of the sheriff. Responses were submitted, those responses were reviewed, and our legal counsel has informed us regarding the limits of this board's authority to proceed with any further action. Moving forward, what this Board of Supervisors can do is continue to listen to the concerns of residents, taxpayers, and people across this county who want a safe place to live and who want integrity and accountability from our public institutions. And while much of this discussion has centered on one individual, public safety in this county depends on far more than one person. 1,500 of our 7,000 county employees work for the Sheriff's Department. They are the public servants answering calls, responding to emergencies, conducting investigations, and serving communities across our entire county. And this is where the board can and will continue to focus, ensuring that those public safety systems remain strong, stable, and responsive to the people we serve. The board took the concerns raised before our entire community seriously, and we used the remedies within our legal authority to seek answers from an independently elected county officer. This board will continue meeting its responsibility to the people of Pima County by investing in those 1,500 men and women in the Sheriff's Department who keep this community safe every single day. That is our constitutional responsibility, and it is our obligation to the public. And that is the work that this board will continue focusing on moving forward. Thank you.
I want to thank my colleagues for your really thoughtful comments. This has been a challenging conversation. I think that the thing that I am clinging to, I think, holding on to, is the department. And I think, as Supervisor Kano alluded to, that it is the Sheriff's Department is our largest department in Pima County. And we rely on the deputies every single day. I represent a rural district, a district that is comprised of families who live out down bumpy dirt roads, seniors, immigrant families, other folks who call Pima County home. They rely on the Sheriff's Department for trust, right? That when they need to call the sheriffs will be there, that justice will be served, that there will be responsiveness, that there is accountability, right? These are essential values for essential services. For some folks who are most isolated, for people who are most vulnerable, and people who live in fear. I want to thank the department for stepping up. I imagine that this has been an incredibly difficult process and will still continue to be a difficult process. Leadership is so incredibly important. And leadership from our sheriff is so incredibly important. And I hope that what we see in the path ahead is true leadership that looks out for the interests of the full team, that looks out for the interests of all Pima County residents, and reinstates the trust that is needed in our community, in our Sheriff's Department. I'll leave it at that. But thank you all for engaging in this conversation and bringing it to the fore. I appreciate that. There's nothing else. We are moving on. We are going back to item number 11 of the regular agenda. This is a contract with the Arizona Water Company. I move to approve the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? I will just quickly thank, because this is the contract with the Arizona Water Company for the operation of the Ajo DWID, the Water Improvement District. So we are in the process of selling the DWID. First, we took on the operations of it, selling it. It has taken a lot of work to get here to this point. The DWID has been managed by volunteers in the community for many years, and they are ready to pass it on. So I just wanted to thank the lawyers for negotiating this with the Arizona Water Company and getting us to this point and moving us along, and also the county administration. So all that said,
if I may,
oh,
Chair
yes,
Allen,
please.
just to build on what you said, I want to thank publicly the volunteers in Ajo who continued, as this was much more complicated than our attorneys thought that it would be, and they continued to volunteer to keep the work moving. So just wanted to publicly acknowledge them and you and your staff for helping them get this across the finish line. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Moving on to item 12, this is a contract related to right of way. I will move to approve the item.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Hines for their discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. And I did not actually note, but I should have that those last two items we voted on sitting as the Ajo Domestic Water Improvement Board. We learning things. Now we will be sitting as the Library District Board.
What number is this, Madam Chair?
Item number 13. This is a contract with off-duty management. Move to approve the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
this item is interesting, if not troubling. Since September of 22nd, out of the sole source procurement process, the procurement director approved an award of $250,000 back in 2022. By the same process, they extended it, and then in 23 they exceeded the amount another $192,000. On June of 23rd, through the same procurement process, they awarded another $250,000. In June of 24, they awarded another $250,000, and then in April of 25, under the procurement process, they added an additional award of $250,000. So now the entire award has been well over $1 million, and it's to provide security guards that are trained to address professionally and to protect libraries. They are to pay Tucson Police Department off-duty officers to guard and protect the libraries and the library staff, all owned by Pima County. The library is owned and run by Pima County. First of all, why are they using Tucson Police Department officers? Why aren't they using Pima County sheriffs? That's my first question. And second, we hear all of these issues with homelessness and crime and drug addiction and mental health, and we see all the numbers that our organizations, both in the city and the county, have gone out to do research on why there are these incidents of violence, why there are homeless camps, why there are people standing in the streets. Yet we have a very dire situation with our own county library system, where they have to have protection to the tune of well over $1 million over 3 or 4 or 5 years to protect the public and staff from individuals. And I quote, "These security guards are trained to address these situations professionally, allowing library staff to focus on service delivery rather than enforcement." We have a safety problem in our libraries. We just spent another, I don't know how many millions to buy a beautiful old bank building to convert it to another library that's going to have more problems, just like the ones we're having now that are costing us $250,000 a year in protection. Yet I hear nothing in all of the reports from our homeless and substance abuse and mental illness experts. We've got a problem with the libraries and nobody's addressing it. And I'd like to know, A, why are we not addressing this and including this in the problem of homelessness and violence in our community, in our own libraries? And at very least, why aren't we using Pima County Sheriff's Department to protect our Pima County libraries with money?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, I'll give it a shot and then turn it to Deputy County Administrator Holmes would like to respond. First of all, not all of our libraries are in unincorporated Pima County. We do have libraries that are in the city of Tucson, and we work with we use the off-duty police officers in those locations. We also use, and I know we can get a more robust response to the various different individuals we use to protect the libraries. I mean, I guess I'm not clear in that we do have security issues at our libraries.
We
spend about $250,000 a year to address that issue so that people who want to come into our libraries do feel safe using those facilities. And so
Yeah.
it varies by library, which different locations have different kinds of concerns. And
Well,
Mr.
just
Holmes,
one
Mr.
interjection. We can find this money to protect our libraries at $250,000 a year with Tucson off-duty police officers, even though the county owns and operates the libraries. That's one thing. But how come we're so shorthanded and short-staffed on our city streets to protect us when we could find this money to protect our libraries? Nothing's being done to address the rest of the crime, but we are addressing it to address the libraries.
Well, again, Super Chair Allen and Supervisor Christie, very similar to as you're sitting here tonight, we have VetSec that protect many of our buildings and secure buildings to make sure that they are not only our employees, but all of the public who come to any of our facilities feel safe and secure. We have a variety of options that we do that
How
within
about
those
the public
communities.
waiting for bus drivers? How about the public going through intersections and seeing homeless people stand there begging for money? Where's the comparability of it?
I'm not sure how we address that in a procurement contract with the libraries, but if there's a different information about what we're doing at the libraries, if there's anything else you'd like to add, or we've responded simply to our need to provide security at public libraries.
I will not, sorry, but it's my understanding that this comes as a result of the library conducting an extensive review of incidents at the libraries and looking at how many and what, and that is a report that I believe is available, that's out there, and that is sort of the basis, right? It's not that the issues are not known and that nobody's talking about. In fact, this item is a direct response of the library conducting an assessment of what has been happening. But I'm sorry, I interrupted DCA Holmes.
Chair Allen, Administrator Lesher, and Supervisor Christie. Absolutely, these are libraries that are within the city of Tucson limits. We hire TPD officers within the city for the issues associated with some of the concerns that have been echoed by staff there. It's based upon a needs assessment. This is why it's coming to you, and we bring it forward as a procurement process. But I can't answer TPD's other shortages. At this point, these are off duty, so they're not being pulled from their current duties. These are off duty of people that are being assigned after their general work hours.
Madam Chair, just as a point of reference, I do see Pima County Sheriff deputies standing in front of Walmart as protection. So I don't think the jurisdictional thing is as important as the fact that the libraries are the same thing to Pima County as the deputies are to Pima County. They're Pima County. That's an aside, who we pay. The issue I'm trying to address is we have a problem of safety in the libraries. And yes, we may be addressing it with money, but why can't that same amount of money be directed to address the overall crime problem we have? It doesn't seem like any of the discussion is including the incidents that we have at libraries. And you talk to library staff and you talk to constituents going to libraries, they're terrified, even with the protection. That's all I'm going to say. It just seems
Thank you.
very odd and weird that we put the libraries in a special place and the rest of the citizenry has to suffer from bad situations with criminals. Thank you.
The item was seconded by Supervisor Hines, I believe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Now we are returning to sit as the Board of Supervisors. We are going to go through a few hearings. So item number 14 is a hearing for a fireworks permit for Mountain View High School. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to the item? All right, then I move to close the public hearing and approve the permit.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Next hearing is Walden Grove High School fireworks permit. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to the item? Hearing none, I will move to close the public hearing and approve the permit.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 4-1. Next item is a hearing for a liquor license. Is there anyone present for a Quick Mart on Flowing Wells Road? Anyone present who wishes to speak to the item? Hearing none, I will move to close the public hearing and approve the liquor license recommendation.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Next, we will move to hearing item number 17. This is a building code text amendment for the building and construction codes updates. Is
Chair
there-
Allen, I'll move the item.
uh,
I'll move to close the public hearing and approve ordinance 2026-6.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Madam
Chair.
Chair.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Supervisor.
I'd just like to point out from the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association, Madam Chair, I know you were the recipient of both of these letters and they were spread through email to the board. The president and CEO of the Southern Arizona Home Builders made two distinct comments about this particular item. And one states that the Southern Arizona Home Builders have concerns about the compliance costs of the new code at a time when affordability challenges are already significant. They are willing to work with the county to address any unintended consequences to mitigate cost impacts while achieving goals of energy efficiency. In his next letter, he states very directly that compliance of this item before us will result in between 1,500 and 2,600 additional construction costs. Oro Valley estimated that the cost could run as high as $6,000 to $9,000 per home. It's these kinds of regulations that are making our housing situation unaffordable and are causing the housing crisis that we're enduring. So I will be voting against this ordinance amendment.
Supervisor Scott.
Chair Allen, to follow up on Supervisor Christie's comments, I appreciated the opportunity to talk with Mr. Godlewski from the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association about the concerns of his members, and want to also thank Mr. DeBonis for the conversation that we had prior to the study session about this item. I appreciated hearing not only how the county and the city of Tucson work collaboratively on these codes, but also the dialogue that occurs between officials within our department with the representatives from the towns as well, Marana, Sahuarita, and Oro Valley. And I know that Mr. DeBonis and Mr. Ice, who is also here, have had conversations with Mr. Godlewski and their leadership with Saba as to how our staff will work in collaboration with their membership to address some of their concerns. And I just wondered if I could ask Ms. Lesher, if I could ask Mr. DeBonis and or Mr. Ice if they could address how that would look operationally, that collaboration with Saba and its members.
Chair Allen and Supervisor Scott, happy to, and I've had conversation with Mr. Godlewski as well. I think that the code committee, the joint code committee between the county and the city, was very conscious of this issue of cost and energy efficiency in our buildings, both residential and commercial. And so that committee has indicated that they will continue to hold dialogue around the implementation of these changes, right? So that they can hear input from our stakeholders and can evaluate whether any subsequent changes are necessary. In addition to that, there are a variety of forums that exist. And so county staff, including Mr. Ice, our building official and deputy director at Development Services, participates in the technical committee meetings of the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association. The county administrator and the deputy county administrators meet with executive leadership of the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association. There are a variety of official meetings. Mr. Rice meets with the building officials of the other jurisdictions on a regular basis. We have a stakeholder development industry stakeholder meeting that includes SABA and the Metropolitan Pima Alliance and other industry professionals that identifies issues and works to address them collaboratively. And so I have indicated to Mr. Godleski that, we will continue to use all those channels and any others that are helpful to go ahead and track the implementation of this. I will indicate, and in Ms. Lesher's memorandum from yesterday, it noted that there were a series of questions received from board offices, particularly around the commercial provisions and some of the sections that were not recommended for adoption, and an interest in evaluating whether or not those thresholds for applicability for commercial structures are appropriately sized. And so the recommendation in the county administrator's memorandum was to ask the board to direct staff to initiate additional discussions with the joint county and city building code committee, and to have some input from the Pima County Climate Action Executive Team as it relates to that matter on the commercial provision. So long way of saying that there's a number of forums, as we discussed, Supervisor Scott, where this dialogue can continue. And we've got a long and productive relationship with the home builders and the development industry of understanding the impacts of things that are being proposed and adopted, and working to try and address those in a collaborative and comprehensive way.
Thank you, Mr. DeBonis. And Chair Allen, just to follow up, I appreciated also, Mr. DeBonis, the conversation we had prior to the study session about the fact that the three towns, Marana, Oro Valley, Sal Rivita, often want to assert their own concerns and their own needs, and that sometimes being engaged in decisions where the influence of the much larger city or county can have an effect on their focus on those needs and concerns within their jurisdictional boundaries. But I just think that moving forward, in the interest of regional consistency, I'm hoping that the city and the county can look for more ways to reach out to the towns. In two of those towns, we're going to be seeing a significant amount of growth. One of them might be more built out than the other two, but I just think in the interest of regional consistency, reaching out to the towns more, but not just the county, but also the city, I think is going to help. We're already working in partnership with regard to our needs to increase housing stock at the affordable workforce and market rate level. I think there ought to be more efforts for regional collaboration in these arenas as well. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Sure. I wanted to thank the Tucson Pima Joint Code Committee and the Pima County Planning and Zoning Department and Development Services for their work to bring this before the board. Our office has paid close attention to the energy code as it's kind of moved along through the process. And I think in large part because one of the lessons that we learned in the last year was that there are very few ways that we as a county can have a direct impact on energy usage and emissions in the broader community. We have approved recently the climate action plan for county operations that helps us reduce waste in our own systems and reducing cost and environmental impact, but impact outside of our own operations is really limited. So the building code, especially energy code, becomes a portion, right, which is the energy code is the portion that is in front of us today. It is the primary and best tool for us to be able to move the needle on reducing countywide energy use and emissions. So we have a few concerns, right? And we have brought this forward and discussed this with the development services and so two of them in particular. So one is that there were changes made that exempt buildings under 50,000 square feet from complying with additional energy efficiency credits and load management requirements. So if this standard was applied to the current building stock, that would mean that 80% of buildings would be exempted. The International Energy Conservation Code recommends that these codes apply to buildings that are 1,000 square feet or greater. Our second concern is that there was the complete removal of sections related to on-site renewable energy installation, energy use monitoring, and automatic receptacle controls. So taking the climate crisis seriously means that we also have to take seriously opportunities like these that can have a real impact on how much energy is used in our buildings and the emissions that they produce. So to be clear, new standards, right? These standards will not apply to existing buildings. We're only talking about new construction. I don't like the framing of sort of cost versus climate, right? We need a code that is practical, but strong enough to reduce energy use, lower long-term costs, and support better building stock over time, right? We heard today when we discussed our 2026 heat plan. We have discussed our climate plan. Our office, one of the greatest calls that we get is around people who are struggling to pay for their utilities. Putting attention now in energy code within our building codes will make a difference. I think it is better to be upfront in around energy efficiency and reducing energy use and reducing emissions so that people aren't bearing that cost down the road. The city of Tucson has already adopted the energy code before us today, but there is interest among some members of the council to address these same concerns that our office has shared. So I would like to do a friendly amendment to the motion, which is to approve the ordinance that we have before us today and request, as noted in the memo from the county administrator, for staff to reconvene the Tucson Pima Joint Code Committee to address these two specific concerns and bring amendments, again, as was outlined in the county administrator's memo, bring amendments back before the Board of Supervisors within 120 days.
I would continue to second and adopt or accept that if the motioner is okay with that, but could we make it maybe 180 days?
We could, although 120 was a timeframe that was acceptable and was delineated in the memo from the county administrator.
And that's fine.
He did. You moved the item, so I think there's.
Oh, I was like, why is everybody looking at me? I have a wager that we're going to be done by 8:12, and I'm not winning that. So shows you where I'm focused. Administrator Lesher, does the motion and the friendly amendment adhere to the administration's belief that you can have both adoption of the code as presented and the opportunity to come back to the board with additional recommendations?
Chair Allen and Supervisor Cano, yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, I accept the friendly amendment. Thank you.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Item with amendment passes 4-1. We are, thank you. Moving to item 18, which is approval of the consent calendar.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor
I
Hines.
would like to pull for separate consideration item number 5, the consent calendar.
Okay, item number
Madam-
5 is pulled.
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull item. How is it? On the consent. Item 11.
5 and item 11.
And maybe I could speak to that because it could be bundled in anyway. In other words, we don't have to do it separately. But if I may, we have some representatives from my district in Green Valley who have been patiently waiting to hear this item passed. They've worked so hard at formulating this that they came all the way up here and had to sit here through this lovely meeting at this time of day. And I can tell by your demeanor that you've really enjoyed it. So in their honor, Madam Chair, I'd just like to make a special acknowledgement that they are the Green Valley Gardeners, and they're been working to provide a Pima County license for right-of-way encroachment to access county right-of-way medians to plant, to water, and maintain vegetation and related irrigation equipment. And that there's no cost involved, but their hard work and labor, and they deserve to be recognized for their efforts, and they are proud members of the Green Valley community, and we are grateful for all the work they've done, and we thank you so much for all your efforts, and especially for surviving tonight. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And other than that, if you want to bundle it in.
With the rest, keep it?
Yes.
Okay. I also was really impressed. We read the item that you do all of that work as volunteers. Thank you. Okay, so we will, I will move to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 5.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. All those, discussion in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consent passes 5-0. We will take consent calendar item number 5 now. That is a contract, procurement contract with Sunt Construction.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
I'll move the item.
And second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Thank you, Chair Allen. This is with regard to the downtown library relocation. And I just wanted to hear from staff a little bit, a few more details. 5 years feels like a long time. I'm still stuck on the 22nd Bridge being down for 36 months. So, but 5 years feels like a very long time. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about, like, is that normal? Do we really, is that for real? Or like just like a boilerplate thing we put in place in case? Or, and also when is our lease up? Because don't we lease this from the city of Tucson? The current Joel Valdez main library space is leased from the city of Tucson. Do we just, if I could hear a couple of those answers, that'd be great.
Happy to. Thank you, Chair and Supervisor. Mr. DeBonis.
Chair Allen and Supervisor Hines. So the 5-year terms is fairly standard. And so we don't anticipate it's going to take 5 years, but the design process and the construction process will take us several years. We're getting ready to kick off outreach and community engagement for that project. So that's going to give us an opportunity to hear what the needs are on the design and configuring of that library. So this will have a series of guaranteed maximum price packages that go along with this project. This is a fairly typical structure for these types of contracts when we're dealing with these larger projects. But I assure you that it will not take 5 years for us to complete that improvement.
That's great. Thank you for reassuring me.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Right, we have already done item number 19, moving on to item 20, which is the county administrator hiring process. I think we will have more on this in the next meeting. I think for this meeting, the job post is live. People are applying. Thank you to my colleagues for putting forward some ideas for people to serve on the Community Search Committee. The letters have gone out from the administrator's office inviting people to be part of that committee. And a rough timeline, I think, has been shared with those members and will be shared, I think, in the next meeting in more detail with all of us, and looking at some questions and other opportunities for engagement for other folks across Pima County and the community. So, yeah.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
would the board entertain a discussion on some bundling of, or are there issues that they want to to discuss? I'm thinking we could bundle 21, 22, 23, 24 at least, and then go through 27 through 29, 30, 33, 34, 36.
Maybe I'm getting lost.
37 and 38.
Second.
So we would be discussing 26, 35. And that's about it.
We could still make comments on some of those in
I
your
would-
bundle.
Sure, but I mean, when you want to go ahead and make comments.
All right, that was seconded, right, by Supervisor Kano. Discussion, Supervisor Scott.
Chair Allen, given the hour and given the fact that I think all of us share the broad support across the county for Rio Nuevo, I was fine with item number 21, which was put forth by District 1, being part of that bundle. It's unfortunate that there have been members of the legislature who have referred to Rio Nuevo as an example of what they have called crony capitalism. Those of us in Pima County know that it's been a key to revitalization and investment in downtown and throughout the entire Rio Nuevo area. It may provide, if the majority caucus budget were approved, it may provide a short-term increase in state revenue, but long-term, it would cost the state money, as well as being a true devastating decision for the people of Pima County. And I also wanted to take a second to recognize the members of the Rio Nuevo board. Supervisor Christie was kind enough at our last meeting to honor the memory of Chris Sheaf, who died in a tragic accident a few weeks ago. Mr. Sheaf was the treasurer for the Rio Nuevo board. Their chair is Fletcher McCusker. Their vice chair is Edmund Marquez. Their secretariat, Tanya Villacana, Janny Cox, Mike Levin, Corky Poster, Richard Oseron, and Shariah Jimenez are their members. And I think the entire community is grateful to the service of the Rio Nuevo board, and certainly hope the governor and the legislature make the right decision about continuing Rio Nuevo when a final budget is passed. Thank you, Chair Allen.
And Madam Chair, I would just like to thank Supervisor Scott for making those comments, of which I wholeheartedly endorse.
Thank you, sir.
Just one quick thing, if I may, on Rio Nuevo, I of course support it, and I was in the legislature when it happened, I think. But instead of attacking it or diminishing it, I think we should look at expanding the area that or where businesses and investments can occur, like farther down to 22nd, for example, and we should be looking at making it better, frankly, for the area, not trying to take it down.
Supervisor.
Madam Chair, if I may ask a question, as Supervisor Scott did on one of the items, just for clarity, number 38, one of the deputy directors might be able to help here. What is the completion date of the work encompassed in item 38? That's been going on forever. When are we going to see some?
Yeah. The rest of the building is, pardon me, Chair Allen and Supervisor Christie. There's been work in a variety of the building, but now we're just finally getting to the last two. Mr. DeBonis?
Chair Allen and Supervisor Christie, as the county administrator indicated, that project had gone on for some time with the exterior renovation of this building. And so 10 and 11 were intentionally left vacant until a discussion could be had about the potential for relocating the Board of Supervisors and county administration back into that building.
And
So
when did we move out of there, the Board of Supervisors?
21.
With the intention of going back in 2022, is that right?
Supervisor Christie, I think there were various intentions along the way. And so this has been a
Wait, it was
much,
2023. No, wait, 2024,
2028.
maybe 25.
I think it's
So
been much
any
discussed.
prognostication again?
So I would say with the award of this contract, we could expect roughly a 2-year time frame. If you
From
say
now?
a year for design, year for construction.
Another 2 years?
Yes, sir.
It's still going to be standing, the whole building, right?
It'll be less than 5 years.
Well, that's clarity for you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. DeBonis.
Sure.
President?
Yeah. So do we have to move?
We better after waiting for 55
Well,
years.
no, I just
Chair Allen and Supervisor Hines, I know that there have been opportunities to talk with members of the board and your staff. We had a discussion about this briefly at the retreat. I think we do have a period of time. We're going to need the space built out to move into. It will be ultimately a decision of the board if that's what you choose to do.
But I also, and Chair Allen and folks, I don't feel like maybe it's the highest, best use monetarily of the old courthouse building to not have administration and to rent it out to someone else for money. But I kind of feel like there should be a government entity in that building. Do you all want to move?
Chair Allen and Supervisor Hines, I think what we have been talking about is when we finished the renovation on the historic courthouse and we were looking to lease the space, there really was an interest in that remaining 4,400 square feet. I think, which is one of the reasons administration moved at the time. We decided just to move everyone out of 10 and 11 and get the work done in this building. I think that now that people have had an opportunity to see the historic courthouse built out, they can see what it can be, what it can do. What we're looking at is we look at the entire plan to move departments and organizations within the downtown area. We continue to look at this building. The reality is we could rent space to another organization in historic courthouse. We can't do that in this tower. So I think it's some of the options that we're continuing to discuss. I think Supervisor Hines, before you were here, both county administration and the Board of Supervisors were in this building and on adjacent floors. And there was some positive feelings that came from that ability for that close interaction. So I think, as you've heard, we have a year for planning and design. And I think that's the time we'll be able to really talk with the board about what your desires are for the use of the building.
Okay, thank you.
And Madam Chair, I'm just wondering, and I'll do whatever is the will of the board, but I'm just wondering on number 26, I have a lot to say on that. I'm wondering if it could be continued to the next meeting in the interest of time, or is there a time certain that's needed for this? And if there's pardon me?
I think we have to first go through, there's a motion
Okay.
to vote on the combined items and then we come to 26.
And we're holding out 36,
Correct.
but everything else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Except
yeah,
26
26 and 35.
And I do want
Yeah, I'm
to,
sorry, 35.
I also just want to note the importance of item number 22 and our support of naming the Raul Castro Memorial Highway. And I think ours will be the first vote of support for this, and it is being similar asks are being made from the Nogales City Council, Sahuarita Town Council, Santa Cruz Board of Supervisors, all the way on up the stretch of highway. And that stretch of highway going from Nogales up to Phoenix is symbolic of the impact of the work of Raul Castro, as being both, as the resolution already says, that so you've seen county attorney, judge, governor, U.S. ambassador. And so his stretch of his legacy is one in which is reflective of what we are naming. So I'm excited about doing that. That said, all those in favor of this bundle of items?
Aye.
Those opposed? The bundle of items is approved, 5-0.
Chair Allen,
Yes, Supervisor Kano.
I would like to move that we approve item number 26.
Approve it or?
Second.
Okay.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Chair Allen, if I may.
Yes. Oh.
The item is to appoint a member to the task force.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
The task force, I've created a task force. Happy to respond to any questions that people might have.
Yeah.
And we were looking for people who might be appointed to that.
So there's no, pardon me, may I? So there's no discussion of the actual board itself or the oversight committee itself, that whole concept?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, not that the action is needed tonight. Happy to have any follow-up conversations with you about what the intent might be and what we're looking for.
So this is just a board appointment that we're here to vote for? Or
Yes, sir.
against? And who's making the appointment?
I'd like to
board.
make a nomination if that's okay, Chair Allen. Chair Allen, I'm wondering if my colleague from District 1, Rex Scott, would be interested in serving as the board's liaison to the Elections Oversight Task Force.
I'll second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines.
Seeing yes in the affirmative, I'd like to make that as a formal part of the motion. Thank you.
All right. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Wait, is that okay with you?
Very much so.
We were just gonna you don't get a chance. All those opposed? Item passes 5-0. All
And
right,
then,
now,
Madam Chair, 35,
yes,
I'd like to move the item.
seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
No?
Item passes 4-1. All right. Now we move to the addendum. Almost. Item number 2. This is waiving pledge and land acknowledgement for study sessions.
Move the item?
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Item 4, creation of a policy for proclamations.
Thank God.
I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Madam Chair, I'm just a little bit curious. What happens if a department or a department head asks a supervisor to present a proclamation? You've stipulated it in this particular item that each supervisor should be like divvied up a certain quota per year. Would that, from another department, from an administrator or the head of an administration department requesting a proclamation, would that go against my quota or to my quota, or how does that work?
You could frame it as going against or perhaps supporting the fulfillment of your quota. It's a glass half empty, glass half full. But I mean, it's up for discussion. For sake
What
of
if I
argument,
wanted
I
it-
would say yes.
If it would go towards my quota, because
Because
I could always disagree and say, no, I won't.
It's true.
The other question I have is, what if I get a quota of 24 proclamations a year and I decide next meeting is April 21st. I want all my proclamations proclaimed. I mean,
I think we've done that.
Yeah, that
I mean,
was the last meeting. I mean,
It would be Christopalooza.
yeah.
be something else than that too. I'm just wondering if maybe we should reflect on this a little bit more and continue it with, and submit recommendations or ideas to the chair.
You do that, or if you have an amendment, just, if,
I really don't at this time. I don't know how to control it. That's the thing. I love proclamations and I think they're important, but my God, they're getting out of hand. They really are.
Is there, Chair Allen and staff, can we quantify the number of proclamations that are coming specifically from like a department and then use that information to inform our decision? I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Nor do I.
Okay.
I mean,
Really?
we
Come
could, excuse me, Chair Allen and Supervisor Hines, we could go through and see what are coming from departments or, the corrections officers day or health days that relate to those, and do that count for you and get an idea of where they're coming from or how that's occurring.
That'd be good.
And I wanted to understand, Chair Allen, as well, is this limiting the number of proclamations that would be presented at a board meeting? But any member of the board could provide for additional proclamations if you wanted the board to approve them and then present them maybe at an event or at another activity. Is that?
yes, absolutely. This
Well,
does
that makes
not limit the
sense.
number of proclamations that could be put on consent and approved in consent, and then would be delivered at community events. So it only relates to the proclamations that would be presented at the board meeting, and acknowledging that they, and I think we all hear this, that it is important, right?
What
People
if somebody
appreciate
doesn't
it.
want to use their 24 allocation, and is there trading going on?
We can
Like,
bank them like sick
you
time.
know,
They're
I'll take 6 of your proclamations if you forego 15 of yours, And I'm as guilty as anybody. I've been putting, but here's an example.
I am not guilty.
Here's an example. The Department of Health has asked us, our office, to present a proclamation honoring, I don't know it specifically, but something to the effect of Men's Health Week or Health Month. How can I turn that down? I want everybody to be healthy, men too. But I didn't bring it forward. I was asked to.
That would be a departmental one. Forgive me, Chair Allen.
So our wonderful clerk just noted that the item is explicitly directing the county administrator to create a policy. So per our own definition here, it
We'd
is
like
going to
that
come
back right
back.
away.
It is
Right
going to come
away.
back to us.
Are you deferring that till January? Jan?
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Cano.
I think we've belabored the point that a draft policy is forthcoming. I'm not interested in this board having a proclamation police. I feel like the most important thing that we ought to be doing is distinguishing what should be on a public facing agenda with the presentation to the public versus what can be on consent for a presentation in private or at a later time. And it's going to require an adjustment. I have never seen a cap like this, but I feel like the board should absolutely recognize that the flexibility in this policy is based on the five of us coming together around consensus, and how that happens, which meetings it happens. That's why we have an agenda committee now. That's why we are tasking the clerk and the administrator to come up with this, but all really good questions for what I hope will be reforms so that we cannot be here until 10 p.m.
All right.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
just to wrap it all up, we will be expecting a recommendation from the county administrator.
Yes. All right. We have 3 items left.
Do we have to vote on it?
Oh, and then we have to, sorry. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Item 5, procurement contract with Sun Construction. I'll move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. I will bundle up items 6 and 7. Both of these are appointments. I will move to approve the appointments.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. And we are adjourned.
I think it's 8:30.
That's not bad.
Okay.
It's only 18 minutes beyond your wage.
Oh boy, did they just mute it? That's it. That's it. It's over. It just ended. Just abruptly just shut down. That was it. Oh my goodness. What do you guys want to do? I should probably just shut this down. I'm streaming to Ted's channel too. I'll see if Ted wants to do anything. Hey guys, over in Ted's chat, there's 27 people. Hi guys. And in mine, there is 22 people. So that equals 49 people. That was, I kind of expected that in a way where like, you know, like he's an elected official. It's not easy to get those people out. Is Taylor still alive? Oh, he's still alive.
Video of my little photography session.
Well, JLR's still alive, guys. We can watch some of that, or
Did you know which one I'm talking about? About the one with the young lady who decided to come film her YouTube channel stuff.
Kiki.
Did you see that one? Yeah,
Kiki.
Kiki.
I saw Kiki. Yeah, Kiki.
Did you see the AI one I produced?
I did. With Kiki.
I did. What do you guys want to do? Watch
I
it?
thought it's pretty good. Some people
Tired as fuck.
may not have liked it, but I thought it's pretty funny myself.
Maybe Kiki. Listen, you two, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight. I'm running out of gas. My eyes are getting a little buggy, and
I bet.
we'll have this
Hey,
conversation.
I'm just hitting second gear, so you know.
Oh, nice. So
Can
go
I
over there.
answer the one? Can I answer the one question about what would change if he left today?
Yeah, go
The
on.
only thing I can say that would change is there wouldn't be a Nancy tomorrow, because they would be more on top of what the mistakes are that they made. That's all. But as Nancy, as of finding this Nancy, no,
DGL
but we
one?
don't want any more of this. You know what I mean? This needs to be the end of this. They need to have it together to where they know exactly what they're doing when these things happen.
Dom C says it's BS to expect the FBI to take over a botched case. Botched.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I see that comment.
Dom C.
Well, Alex-
Trampled
so-
crime scene. Dan.
Actually, guys, yeah, Alex is still live too. So JLR is live, Alex is live, DGL is live. So that's
Knows-
probably where everyone
well-
went. So if you guys wanted to go watch that kind of stuff, pick one of those. So I think JLR is going to finish up soon. Alex is live, and I guess DGL, Dad's Gone Live, is live. So, yeah, maybe you guys, if you still wanted to stay up, you can watch them. I had a big fire. Let me check. I'll put it up for a second. Okay. That's all.
Make this the blame game of distraction. He is a POS. Army
Well,
strong.
it's not that we're expecting the FBI to take it over. We all know it's sort of, well, it's botched in our opinions. We don't know, you know, we don't know what cards they're actually holding and what they actually do know. Again, there's things that I question in the back of my mind on what they really have, what they have set up, and all that stuff. It's just like that vehicle being kept for 41 days. I don't know if I would ever have a conversation in that car again. I mean,
Man.
I wouldn't talk to a tire, you know.
It probably has microphones in there, bugging, tracking devices.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even though they sent that thing to get repaired and returned to me, I would have it down at some other body shop, having everything taken right back out. Going, what did they stick in this thing? You know, I mean, because
with a fine tooth comb.
It's probably got a lug nut tracker on it. You know what I mean? It's just,
no kidding.
But
no
I mean,
kidding.
But but also, you know, if the Annie Tommaso, they see them trying to see if there's a bugging device on them, that might be evidence of circumstantial as guilty conscious, right?
well, that's exactly. I mean,
Yes.
all those things that people don't think about could be used as evidence against you in a court of law. I mean, no different
So
than,
true.
you know, well, I'll save some of those thoughts for another session because I know you said you're tired, but there's things that I want to
Yes.
discuss, so we'll
You
write
gotta
them
get
down.
some rest.
The white vehicle that, everybody saw going to the crime scene and leaving the crime scene, I want to go into an in-depth discussion on that, why I
Like,
say
PSO?
it is not
Oh,
possible.
wow.
That Kia Soul, yeah, it's not possible.
Yep.
That vehicle is involved, and I'll explain why. So write that down for another day's discussion. Make sure we bring it back up.
But
I love that.
when I'm in Tucson, I'll bring you up, Kev, and we'll talk more. And
Yeah.
you're the one-
Anytime you want to send me the link, I mean, well, you
Yeah,
got
sure.
my
Sure.
cell phone number, so just text me and see if I'm down for it. And
Mhm.
everybody knows I don't hardly do anything other than stay at home and paint airbrush models and stuff like that now. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's
Nikki,
awesome. Yes.
always a pleasure.
Yes,
Always a
sir.
pleasure.
make sure you go find my YouTube channel
I will.
and look me up and follow me there.
You bet I
So,
will.
All right,
You bet I
Nikki.
will. Hey, and can I just say one more thing to you?
Sure.
Order me a big steak when you're there and just say this is for Nikki.
Yeah, we'll do a live
have
stream.
them sprinkle the butter and write Nikki on the top of it.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Man,
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
getting hungry for a Longhorn steak with the potato and the cinnamon and the butter.
Stop.
Talking that at Longhorn. Oh my goodness, it's so delicious. Sometimes it's
Yes.
better than the steak.
Yep. Yep.
Hey,
Good night,
Well,
folks.
good night. Good night.
just
And I
saying,
will
come
find
get the
you in your
Can-Am.
page.
All right.
Come get the Can-Am JLR and you can take the drones and all that stuff. You just got to learn how to use them and all that stuff.
We'll be in touch. You might be the drone guy.
Yeah, I'll
Thanks,
send you
Kevin,
out
man.
there with one. Yeah,
Thanks for
man.
coming
Anytime.
You
Sure
be
thing.
safe.
Holler at me. Bye,
All right.
everybody. Good seeing everybody. And now y'all know there's a me and there's a him.
Yeah, we're not the same.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So JLR is pretty
It's
much
been real,
Oh,
done. Yeah,
folks.
he's pretty.
Nanos
Working on for how long?
survives. He weathered the storm for now.
How long was he on for?
But what's going to happen
5.5
days to
hours?
come? It is 101 days. Well, it's actually getting close to midnight. It's maybe 102, 101 days. It's too long. Nancy Guthrie needs to be found. But I do want to make this about Nancy, not about the Nanos show. Really, this is about Nancy. This is about what happened to Nancy, who's involved, where's she at, where could she be?
That's Alex up here in the top corner. This is DGL at some kind of fire here, and JLR is finishing up.
What evidence they have? What do they have that they're not sharing with us?
I'm
What
pretty
the heck
done,
is
too.
going on with this case? We will know more maybe this weekend, maybe next weekend. Maybe there's a big break in the case. Can't wait to get back out there to connect with good, like-minded individuals.
The Teds is still running too.
Streamers. Love the
Ted's
streamers.
streaming
Love the
from here.
people that are doing blood, sweat, and tears to find Nancy.
So
We're collectively
I guess.
Nancy's army, JLR army too. All right, folks. You guys have a very good night. I'll be back tomorrow with something.
Good night, bro.
Most likely. Hopefully it's not another
Good night.
storm. But I like the storms. And we'll see what happens. Y'all be safe. Y'all be blessed. Wherever you're watching from, all are welcome on JLR Investigates. We're a big army. We're a collective. Collective. We all come from all walks of life, backgrounds, places we're all from, but collectively, we want to know what's up. We want to know what happened here. So I appreciate each and every one of you. A lot of you are the hardcore ones, the diehards. Y'all been here since the beginning. I don't really see a lot of new faces. Usually, we all know each other. We all know our avatars. We all know our personalities, the comments. We all recognize everyone. It's great. Love seeing all of you.
Just watching
Thank you,
it. I
everyone that
guess.
contributed. Your contributions help me significantly, and I'm very grateful for that.
Who's on with
Pray
Alex?
for Nancy. Pray for Nancy's family.
Juanita's
Pray for
on with
Nanos.
Alex.
Pray for the FBI. Pray for the community of Tucson, Catalina Foothills, everyone that's hoping Nancy's found and bring her home. We'll talk soon. Thanks for watching, folks. Good night.
Later.
JLR Investigates. Be safe.
The JLR's done. Let's shut that down. And I'm gonna go full screen with Dad's Gone Live, and we'll listen to Alex and
Well-known drug around
Give
here
me a
that
second.
makes
Let me
people
pull it on
talk
my
a
other
lot.
screen here.
They
Here it
actually
comes.
call it a parrot. They call the
double-
drug a parrot. And
So
I've noticed that about him.
The repeating.
Dad's
thing.
Gone Live
But
is live.
to
So if you
me,
guys
it's
wanted to
like,
head on over
you
there
know how
after
we
this,
always say how done he is. and
I'll
we know
mute
how-
Alex for a second. We'll just listen to DJL for a second. What's he at? Any sound there? Oh, it's not playing.
From last night. We got
northbound at Bucko and I-8 on these should be
Oh, the fireman
getting
is
off the
there.
freeway now.
Truck's there.
I don't want to go past the fire truck.
Nevada plate 7, David John, 855 on a Subaru.
Yeah, I turned it down. Sorry, Dad. Yeah, it's pretty loud. So we just listen to Alex.
He's doing? He's gonna fall.
There's a weaker
So if you
link
guys are
somewhere that
gonna stay up,
gonna fall.
maybe go and watch
Like the
either
Grateful
Alex or
Dead said,
Dad's going live.
ashes to
Okay.
ashes, we
Here.
all fall down.
I'll put their links in. Obviously, you guys can get
Isn't
there.
around the Rosie?
So Dad's
Yep.
Gone Live is here.
Makes you think there may have been some random encounter.
The only thing I
can tell you at
the scene
is it's concerning to us that it's enough
And I'll put it in Ted's chat. Anyone's still awake? Okay. Well, go on over and watch Dad's Gone Live because I'm going to shut this down for Ted and I here. And
Well,
Alex's
that's-
is.
You don't see it now, but we had our survey.
He loves it. Ooh, you don't see it now.
You don't see it right now because I lost my
Alex.
flashlight when I showed you
Alex.
where they're at, right above us.
And-
Like we
and
don't
then-
see airplanes at night, right? You can't see an airplane at night or a helicopter. You can't
Right,
see them at night.
You keep saying airplane, right? But then later on, Juanita, a helicopter comes by. He goes, "There's one of our airplanes."
So
I
the
might be
first
wrong,
link,
but that's not how.
That's probably going to the hospital.
the first link I put in is Dad's Gone Live in both chats, in Ted's and mine. And the second link will be to get to Alex and Juanita.
Yeah. Oh, there's one of our assets.
There we go.
Second
There's
one?
one of
There
them.
Craft.
So-
We have our drone systems, our encounter. The only thing I can tell you at the
All right, guys.
is it's concerning to us.
Yeah, it's night,
and
night,
it's enough of a
night, night for
concern
me
that we
too.
called out our criminal investigation team as well.
So go on over and watch Alex and Juanita. I'll probably go say hi to Alex and Juanita, and maybe I'll watch Dad's Gone Live, but I'll listen to them and go watch. So, all right, guys, it's been a great night, and thanks for being with us. And it was, I guess, Nanos is going to stall, and he's not paying for his lawyers. He's probably got his police union to pay for the lawyers, and he's got qualified immunity, and he's got his government part, the elected part of his job will be paying for his, the people will be paying for his lawyers. So he'll fight this to the end. I knew it. And he'll probably be long off this earth before his litigation is solved in years and years of court stalling. They stall, they file, they reply, they rebut, they file. It's all gamesmanship to them. So I always kind of thought that was going to happen. So get on over to watch Alex's or Dad's Gone Live. Okay, guys. Thanks for being here. And, nighty night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for sure. If Ted doesn't want to do anything in the morning, or if he's busy or he can't, most likely Ted will let me know. He'll be up early, text me, and I'll start a live stream and send Ted the link, and he'll call in, and on his drive we'll do our little talk of what he's going to do. Or he's always got something planned, Ted. He may have even told me, and I forget. I'm not even sure. My brain's melting. So I'm sure, and if Ted doesn't do anything or can't, if he has busy or he can't do anything, I will watch like day 10 of the Corey Richards trial. So I'll do something for sure, but most likely it'll be with Ted or whatever Ted wants to do, or maybe we'll do a morning drive talk, and then I'll watch the court trial until Ted wants to do something in the afternoon. He's got big plans. I just kind of forget exactly what they are. I just know he'll be doing something for sure, or I'll be doing something too. So, okay, guys, thanks for being here, and good nighty night, guys. I'll sub. Oh, yeah, Jaylene, put your link in. Sure. Sub to you. You wanted to go live? Sure. Here. What's that? That's a good way to finish the show here. Let me find it. Wait. Go to her channel. You guys, if Jaylene, if you want to get some subscribers, you need to get 50 to go live. So here, share channel, copy. Anybody else wanted to get some subscribers? You guys, check out, where is it? In my chat, here we go. With Jaylene, paste. You guys, it's Jaylene's channel. I'll put it in Ted's chat. There, if you guys want to subscribe to Jaylene, she can go live maybe sometime. You need at least 50 people. Anybody else want to get some subs? Let me know. Oh, I'm so tired. Let me know next time. Send me an email if you're planning on going to go some live, and I'll put your whatever's in. I'm so tired now. So Alex's, I think I forget which link I put in. The first one was, I think the first one I put was Dad's Gone Live, and then I put Alex's link. So have a night. Good night, guys. My brain's melting. I'll see you tomorrow. One way or the other, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll probably go say hi in Alex's chat and watch DGL myself until I fall asleep. All right? Nighty night, guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk more about this in the morning. Okay? My brain's kind of melting. I've been on like all day. So we'll talk more about the Nanos baloney. Maybe we'll do some research on it and find out what they can really do. And it sounds like they're powerless. And I kind of figured that because he's a cop, he's a law enforcement, and he's an elected official. That's like a double untouchable type of thing, like a judge. Like they could basically do whatever they want and they're untouchable. And it takes a lot to override democracy, right? Because he's an elected official, unfortunately. Like, the people elected him in. He was elected in. I don't know what to say. It's not going to be easy to remove a guy like that. You know, he knows it. That's why he's so cocky, because he knows it. So, anyways, all right, guys, thanks for being here. Go on over. I'm going to watch Alex and then say goodnight. Okay? Nighty night, guys. For sure, tomorrow, I'll be around. Ted will be around for sure. I'll go live, and if Ted's not with me, he'll update me text and let me know. Most likely, he'll want to do a morning drive thing, and we'll give you updates on our little morning drive or whatever he goes. Okay? Nighty night, guys. Bye. Thanks for being here. You're awesome. Love you all. Nighty night. Bye.